Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Uchiha. Destroy Konoha at the start, Night of Genocide Fallout. Chapter 1. It's so fast, it's been 13 years without knowing it. Uchiha Chinhui watched the setting sun in the distance, with a ripple in his eyes. Chinhui was originally an ordinary office worker in the Blue Star Dragon Kingdom. After he died in a car accident 13 years ago, he opened his eyes again and became a newly born baby of the Uchiha clan in the world of Naruto. When he just passed through, Chinhui's memories of his previous life were not fully recovered, but some memory fragments occasionally appeared. But there was a sense of urgency in his heart, which prompted him to work hard to improve his strength. It was not until early this morning that Chinhui fell into a deep coma due to overtraining and he did not fully remember the memories of his previous life. Unsurprisingly, in 5 or 6 hours, it will be the night of genocide. According to memory, Shisui died 3 months ago. Just 10 days ago, 3rd Hokage said that he would visit the Uchiha clan to discuss the future of Uchiha together. 3rd generation also deliberately returned all Uchiha tribesmen to Konoha, and Uchiha tribes also prepared to take this opportunity to set off a rebellion on the day of the visit. And the day 3rd Hokage visited Uchiha is tomorrow. Thinking of this, Chinhui couldn't help but smile. He murmured, "Even if I wake up 10.5 months earlier, how should I prepare now that time is so tight?" Chinhui is a human being for 2 generations, so his mental power is very strong. In addition, he has worked very hard in his practice over the years, so he has now turned on 3 Tomo Sharingan, and his strength has reached the level of elite Jonin. In Konoha, he and Uchiha Itachi are collectively known as the 2 strongest talents of the new generation of Uchiha. However, with his current strength, facing a group of shadow-level enemies in the night of extermination, he couldn't do anything at all. Thinking of Itachi, Obito, 3rd generation, Danzo, Chinhui couldn't help clenching his fists, and a deep sense of powerlessness emerged in his heart. For 13 years, Chinhui, who has been an orphan for both lives, has felt the warmth and affection he has never had before in these Uchiha people. He has long regarded these people as his relatives. Now that the night of extermination is near, how can he watch the night of extermination continue? Those people who were killed were all relatives of his blood who had been with him for more than 10 years and cared for him very much. The system is loaded, start scanning the current world information. What sound? An inexplicable voice sounded, and Chinhui was suddenly startled. But soon, he thought of something, and then a hint of surprise appeared in his heart. Let me just say, how come I don't have the necessary cheat for the traverser? Scanning is complete, the system is officially launched. Chinhui didn't let Chinhui wait long before the system prompt sounded again. Then, a stream of information quickly rushed to Chinhui's mind. After Chinhui has absorbed this information, he has got a rough idea of the system's awakening situation. When he had just crossed into this world, his system began to load. But because Chinhui was just a child at the time, and the system took him through and consumed a huge amount of energy, the system loaded very slowly, and most of the memories of Chinhui's previous life were sealed. Until today, the system was finally loaded, so the memory of Chinhui's previous life was also released. After understanding the situation, Chinhui calmly asked, "What are your capabilities in the system?" This system is a breakthrough system, which can help host break through any bottlenecks and reach a higher level. This system also has a task function. The host can choose whether to accept it or not. After completing the task, you can get the corresponding reward. There is no penalty for failed tasks. It's really simple and rude. Chinhui couldn't help but sigh. Detected host's blood relay limit Sharingan reached a bottleneck. Detected that the quality of host's chakra reached a bottleneck. Detected that host's Rasengan A has reached the bottleneck. Detected host's fire style extinguished fire B reached the bottleneck. Has all the bottlenecks been broken? Break in. Hearing that so many things have reached the bottleneck, Chinhui did not hesitate to break all the bottlenecks. He also wants to see how powerful the system is. Successful breaking through the limit of blood succession. Congratulations to host for acquiring Mangekyo Sharingan. Chakra quality breaks successfully. Congratulations to host Chakra for reaching the film level. Rasengan broke successfully. Congratulations to host for acquiring Wind Style Spiral Shuriken, Big Spiral Wheel. The sound of the system sounded, Chinhui only felt a warm current flow through his body quickly, and then the chakra in his body rose rapidly, whether it quality or quantity. When chakra in the body stabilizes, its quantity is 5 or 6 times the previous amount. Moreover, these invisible chakras are extremely condensed, and the purity is far better than before, which will also make the power of the ninjutsu he casts even more powerful. Then, this warm current flowed quickly toward Chinhui's eyes. Under the stimulation of the warm current, Chinhui's Sharingan opened instantly, and the 3 Guyu within it were spinning rapidly. Soon, the 3 Guyu gradually connected, forming a pattern similar to Uzumaki. This is Chinhui's Mangekyo Sharingan. Breakthrough is complete. The host attribute column has been updated. Host: Uchiha Chinhui. Age: 13 years old. Blood succession boundary: Mangekyo Sharingan. Ninjutsu: Wind Style Spiral Shuriken S Big Spiral Round U S Fire Style Firefighting A Uchiha Swordsmanship S. Chakra quality: early stage of the shadow level Wind, Fire, Thunder, Yin. Not only the quantity, but also the cohesion of chakra. The higher the cohesion, the stronger the power of ninjutsu and the strengthening of physical skills. Combat power evaluation: late stage movie frontal confrontation. Ha! The system is so powerful. Feeling the pupil power in his eyes that has been increased several times, and the majestic chakra in his body, Chinhui couldn't help but increase his confidence. Not only that, but the ninjutsu he has learned over the years has also advanced and its power has greatly increased. Especially the advancement of Rasengan directly gave Chinhui 2 extremely strong S-rank ninjutsu. Rasengan was trained by Chinhui when he was 8 years old, with some occasional memory fragments. In addition, after being promoted to Mangekyo, those 2 abilities except Susanoo. Chinhui now has the strength to face the battle of genocide. Nevertheless, I have to be prepared with both hands to be. But soon, Chinhui calmed down again. After all, he was about to face 4 or 5 opponents in the same realm. Looking at the Hokage rock in the distance, which was about to block the last glimmer of the sun, scenes of the original plot began to flash through Chinhui's mind. Soon, Chinhui thought of a great way. A faint smile appeared on Chinhui's face, but this smile made people shudder. Leaders of Konoha, let us have a good time. As soon as the voice fell, Chinhui's figure suddenly disappeared in place. As night fell, ordinary residents in Konoha village gradually fell asleep. As everyone knows, an undercurrent has also begun to surge. On the dark eaves, third Hokage looked at the Itachi, who was kneeling on one knee, and let out a faint puff of smoke. Have you decided? Yes, Lord Third Generation. Itachi raised his head. Third Hokage said solemnly, I want to thank you, so Konoha avoided the civil war and the peace of the village is maintained. Unfortunately, I haven't found other suitable methods until now. But don't worry, I will train your brother well so that he can become a ninja in his own right. Thank you, Lord Third Generation. Itachi nodded heavily. Third Generation continued, I only know about you. So from now on, you will become an S-rank rebel who destroys the clan, and will be chased by Konoha endlessly. I have this consciousness a long time ago. Itachi put on a cat face mask, and his back figure disappeared in a flash. Looking at Itachi's back, Third Generation said faintly, go and prepare. Yes, hundreds of shadows suddenly appeared. After they saluted the Third Generation, they quickly rushed towards the Uchiha clan. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the bright moon in the sky, and breathed out a puff of smoke again. Tonight's genocide action was led by Danzo to cooperate with Itachi. As a Hokage bathed in the sun, Sarutobi Hiruzen does not need to come out in person. Danzo will do it for him. However, in order to prevent accidents, Hiruzen sent this Anbu, which he trusted most, to help him monitor the progress of the extermination. Chinhui, Itachi, really betrayed us. In the small courtyard, a young man asked Chinhui in a deep voice. Not only him, but nearly 100 young and old in the courtyard are also incredulous. After all, the Itachi who turned on Mangekyo Sharingan has always been Uchiha's pride. Yes, he has reached a cooperation with Konoha's upper level. Chinhui nodded slowly to him. These people are the people who have treated Chinhui best and regarded as relatives by Chinhui in these years. In order to prevent accidents in subsequent actions, Chinhui gathered them together so that he could protect them. And now, this group of people already know that Itachi will destroy Uchiha for the sake of the village and cooperation with others. This ungrateful thing, I didn't expect him to be this kind of person. After receiving a positive reply from Shinhui, the young man suddenly scolded. This young man is called Uchiha Peak, 6 years older than Shinhui, and has taken care of Shinhui since he was a child. Now Uchiha Peak has the strength of Jonin, one of the young talents of Uchiha in this era. The other people in the courtyard also cursed. After all, this feeling of being betrayed by relatives is uncomfortable. They didn't doubt whether Shinhui was lying. After all, Shinhui grew up as they watched. And as Shisui's death, recognized as the third strongest Uchiha, Shinhui also has a strong reputation in the clan. As for the first powerhouse, it was the Itachi who turned on Mangekyo naturally, and the second powerhouse was Fugaku, who was deeply hidden and had never exposed Mangekyo to the outside. The people's own ranking. After cursing, Uchiha Peak suddenly frowned deeply. He asked in a deep voice, Shinhui, what should we do next? Yes, Shinhui, now you are the strongest among us, so let you make the decision. Yup, others immediately agreed. Shinhui nodded and said, now Itachi has colluded with the senior Konoha, I guess they will do it tonight. So in the next time, I need you to gather as many people you can trust as possible, so as not to be destroyed by Konoha one by one. Uchiha nodded solemnly, don't worry, we will do it now. The Uchiha clan is also divided into closeness and estrangement, so Shinhui naturally has to save those close to him first. Then, that traitor Itachi, what should I do? Uchiha asked hesitantly. After all, Itachi had opened the mysterious Mangekyo Sharingan. Itachi, I will solve him personally. As he said, Shinhui opened his eyes, and Uzumaki-shaped Mangekyo appeared in his eyes instantly. This is. Uchiha Peak swallowed and spit, Mangekyo Sharingan. Others also watched this scene in extreme shock. Shinhui nodded, and said, with these eyes, I will let Konoha eat the consequences this time. Ha 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 ha. Good. It's great. Uchiha suddenly laughed happily. After that, Uchiha Peak took dozens of people from Chunin and above, and enthusiastically followed Shinhui's orders to act. Shinhui turned to look at the girl aside, and said, Quan, auntie, you will leave it to you. Uchiha Quan looked at Shinhui admiringly, and nodded firmly after hearing Shinhui's instructions. Said, don't worry, brother Shinhui, I will protect my mother. I believe you. Shinhui gently placed his hand on Quan's head. Shinhui's parents in this life are both ninjas from the Uchiha clan, and they both died in the Third Ninja World War. And Shinhui's father has a cousin who is Quan's mother, Uchiha Hazuki, just an ordinary Chunin. Uchiha Hazuki married a Jonin outside the clan, so the Quan family lived outside the clan before. Despite this, Uchiha Yayoi took great care of Shinhui when he was a child, and even proposed to adopt Shinhui many times. But when he was young, Shinhui didn't want to disturb Yayui's family, so he lived alone in the Uchiha clan, but he was also taken care of by the Uchiha Peak and other clan people. Until the Nine Tails Chaos, Quan's father died, Quan opened Sharingan, and Uchiha Hazuki returned to the Uchiha clan with Quan. And Shinhui loved this younger sister very much since she was a child, and Quan also admired Shinhui, an extremely talented brother, and was very attached to him. So Shinhui also secretly vowed in his heart, will always protect the spring from harm. Don't worry, I won't let your tragedy happen again. The night is getting deeper and deeper, outside the Uchiha clan. I need your help, Itachi said solemnly to the person wearing the mask in front of him. Oh, under the mask, Obito's mouth raised slightly. It seems that you have made a good decision. Itachi nodded, such an arrogant and self-reliant family will only bring disaster. Ha 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 ha. Obito suddenly laughed lowly when he heard the words. It's okay to ask me to help, but you have to promise me one thing. I know, Itachi interrupted, I will join your organization afterwards. That's good. Obito nodded irresponsibly. After that, Itachi turned directly and walked towards the Uchiha clan, and Obito also mobilized Kamui to leave. In the small courtyard, Shinhui suddenly felt a wave of spatial fluctuations. At the same time, a barrier instantly enveloped the entire Uchiha clan. Did you do it? Shinhui murmured. Trigger story. Uchiha Annihilation Night. Choose task. 1. Regardless, leave alone. Reward. Elementary Sage Body Advanced S-Level Ninjutsu Scroll X1. 2. Take refuge in Konoha and cooperate with Konoha to destroy the Uchiha clan. Reward: Common Wood-Style Bloodline, Wind-Style Ninjutsu Encyclopedia. 3. Lead the tribe to resist and show the true power of Uchiha. Reward: Perfect Sage Mode, Mysterious Secret Art Scroll X1. Choose 3. Shinhui said without hesitation. Regardless of the shocking rewards the system will give in other options, Shinhui will not hesitate to choose the third option. Task has been determined. In that case, the game will begin. Shinhui raised his mouth, and Mangekyo in his left eye spun suddenly. Then, he saw hundreds of ninjas dressed in black and various masks entering the Uchiha clan from all directions. At the same time, a familiar figure was rushing towards Fugaku's direction. Itachi. Shinhui sighed imperceptibly. In this life, the two of them are friends, but he doesn't agree with Itachi. What's more, Itachi wants to kill his relatives, so he will not let him go. But the most important thing at this time is the group of people who hinder Konoha, to avoid too much loss of the tribe. As for Itachi, let him say goodbye to his parents. Then, Shinhui's figure disappeared in the small courtyard in an instant, and appeared on the roof of the area with the most invaders in the next instant. Looking down at the dozens of people who were trying to disperse and enter the house to assassinate, Shinhui couldn't help but sneered. Danzo's roots. Then try this trick. Shinhui quickly finished the seal, and then took a sharp breath. Fire style extinguish the fire. Not good. The person who issued the lead suddenly noticed something was wrong, and he quickly turned his head. But this look caused him to lose his soul. I saw a fire wave covering the surrounding area for nearly 100 meters, and it swiftly invaded them. The man recovered his senses and quickly started Jayin, trying to resist the sudden attack. But the seal is not over yet, the attack has come to them. In the next moment, a huge fire wave instantly enveloped this group of people, and the screams were endless. When the fire wave dissipated, nearly 100 meters around it had turned into a piece of scorched earth, and the roots of the dozens of intrusions had also turned into fly ash. After the advanced level, the extinguishing of the arrogant fire is really powerful. Shinhui nodded in satisfaction. The Uchiha people around here have long been hidden, so he is not worried about accidentally being injured. After the fierce fire is advanced, not only the range of its power has been greatly increased, but the temperature of its flame has also increased several times. And the chakra required to cast is still only the amount of B-level ninjutsu. Not only is the fire extinguished, but the chakra required to perform other advanced ninjutsu is also true. So from now on, Shinhui, whose voyage ability has greatly increased, can use all kinds of large-scale ninjutsu to bomb. Next is other places. Shinhui's figure disappeared again in a flash. He had to kill as many roots of the invasion as possible before Danzo and the others reacted, in order to reduce the burden on other tribesmen. Although Uchiha's clansmen are all elites, they are several times worse than the number of invading roots. At the same time, the huge movement here also attracted the attention of all the invading roots. Seeing that the invasion had been exposed, the roots of this group were not hiding, and they began to use various methods without any hesitation. At this moment, these roots were instantly attacked and killed by the Uchiha clan elite hidden in the dark. Suddenly, the number of people caught off guard at the roots began to drop sharply. But after all, there are so many of them, and Uchiha gradually began to suffer casualties. Is it exposed? Itachi, who was running towards home, stopped. Itachi turned his head quickly, and the dazzling firelight in the distance and the sound of killing shouts made him hesitate. But after a while, Itachi continued to rush to the home. He believes that the strength of Danzo and Uchiha Madara is enough to suppress the Uchiha who resisted. But his father Fugaku made Itachi take it seriously. Not long ago, Fugaku showed Mangekyo to Itachi, so Itachi didn't know the strength of his deeply hidden father. But as long as he can stop Fugaku, the remaining Uchiha people will be vulnerable. After all, apart from him and Fugaku, the only strongest person on Uchiha's side is Uchiha Shinhui of Elite Jonin. In the face of the two major shadow classes, their fate is already doomed. Soon, Itachi came to a trail in front of the house. But at the same time, 4 figures appeared and stopped in front of Itachi. They were Fugaku's guards. "Who are you?" one of them shouted, they did not recognize the masked ferret. Itachi did not speak, but instantly drew out the long sword on his back, and then quickly rushed to the four of them. The four of them didn't dare to be careless when they saw this, and they also took up weapons and attacked Itachi. But in Itachi's Mangekyo Sharingan, the attacks of these four are simply flawed. The four of them fell in a pool of blood after only a moment of confrontation. Is this your choice? There was a voice, and Itachi looked up and saw Fugaku's figure appearing in front of him. Then, this figure suddenly exploded and turned into a puff of white smoke. Shadow clone. Itachi was shocked suddenly, and then he hurried to the house. Next, is the duel between Mangekyo Sharingan. Soon, Itachi entered the small courtyard of the house, and he touched the bedroom cautiously, not daring to be careless. In his eyes, Fugaku has become his biggest opponent. It's here. As Itachi was searching for Fugaku's figure from room to room, Fugaku's voice suddenly came from the far room. Itachi was startled suddenly, and then he quickly came to the room. Come in, there are no traps. Fugaku's voice sounded again. Itachi hesitated, then cautiously opened the door. In the room, Fugaku and Makoto were sitting on their knees with their backs to him. Father, Itachi murmured, he was a little puzzled about the scene before him. I don't want to kill myself with my son. Fugaku said flatly. It seems. You finally chose to stand on Konoha's side. Itachi didn't know what to say. The knife in his hand gripped tightly for a while, and then loosened again. I understand, Itachi. Makoto's gentle voice sounded. Don't hesitate anymore. Compared with you, our pain is only a moment. Fugaku said in a low voice, although our thoughts are different, you are still my pride. Sasuke, I beg you. I see. Itachi held back the tears, then slowly raised the sword in his hand. Just when he was determined to cut down, a deafening roar suddenly sounded. Then came that violent shaking. What happened? Itachi was shocked, and then quickly closed the knife and ran out, and Fugaku and his wife immediately got up and followed. When the three of them came outside, they were instantly shocked by the scene in front of them. This is. Looking at the huge golden skeleton in the distance, Itachi couldn't help but shrink his pupils. Fugaku also had a solemn expression, and he said solemnly every word. Susanoo, with Chinhui's strong shot, Uchiha has the advantage here. Although there are still casualties, the number of people who lost their roots is more than 10 times as many. After Chinhui solved a dozen roots with a spiral shuriken, he did not continue to the next battlefield. Uchiha is now in full advantage, and it's time for him to solve other problems. So Chinhui turned his head and looked at the void on the side. He said faintly, after watching for so long, don't you plan to come out to see you? Unexpectedly, your strength has progressed so quickly, and now you can perceive my actions, I look down on you. As he spoke, the space was suddenly distorted, and then a man in a black robe with a tiger skin mask appeared instantly. Chinhui's eyes narrowed, and Obito's attributes suddenly appeared in front of him. Name: Uchiha Obito. Blood succession limit: Mangekyo Sharingan, single intermediate sage body, transplanted Hashirama cells. Ninjutsu: Elementary wood style ninjutsu, fire style great fireball technique C, fire style impatience technique, 3 body technique D. Chakra quality: mid-film level. Combat power evaluation: late stage movie, frontal confrontation. Obito looked at Chinhui quite unexpectedly. He had observed Chinhui and Itachi at the same time a long time ago. After all, both of them were Uchiha's rare talents, but in the end, Itachi made him most interested. Itachi did not live up to his expectations and successfully awakened Mangekyo Sharingan 3 months ago, and then Obito completely lost his interest in observing Chinhui. But at this time, Chinhui's displayed strength surprised him. The spiral shuriken just now, as well as the other S-level ninjutsu with a variety of tricks, really shocked him. Obito secretly sighed. With these ninjutsu alone, Chinhui already has the capital to fight against the shadow class. What has this kid experienced in these 3 months? He has learned so many powerful ninjutsu. Chinhui looked at Obito with a plain face. After he released the arrogant fire, he noticed Obito's lurking in the dark. But he didn't care at all. After awakening Mangekyo Sharingan, Obito's Kamui was no longer a threat to him. Who are you? Are you Konoha's running dog too? Chinhui pretended to be puzzled and asked. Konoha, please don't move me. At this time Obito also recovered from his surprise. Even though Chinhui's strength has greatly increased, he who has Kamui is not afraid. And after seeing Chinhui's strength, he suddenly wanted to include Chinhui under his command. Obito said with a hint of arrogance in the flat, I am Uchiha Madara. Ha 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 ha. Seeing Obito's arrogant posture, Chinhui couldn't help laughing. Why are you laughing? Obito frowned and looked at Chinhui who was laughing, with a hint of irritation in his heart. Chinhui grinned and said sarcastically, do you think I am an idiot who doesn't understand anything, and would believe your flawed lie? Hee, it doesn't matter if you don't believe it, but it is the case. Obito suppressed the anger in his heart, and the exposed eye squinted at Chinhui. Then, he opened his eyes suddenly, and Mangekyo composed of 3 sickles appeared. With this Mangekyo Sharingan, you should believe it. Cut. Chinhui still curled his lips in disdain. Those who hide their heads and show their tails, who knows where you got Sharingan from? And just because of your cowering look, you still want to play Uchiha Madara. Go to sleep. After pretending to be so long, I'm afraid you almost forgot who you are. You. Obito immediately glared at Chinhui, his heart was indeed poked in pain. Chinhui didn't want to continue talking nonsense, he directly took out a few shurikens. Then between the sparks, the shurikens flew towards Obito at various tricky angles. Obito looked at these shurikens with a plain face, and didn't mean to evade in the slightest. In the next instant, all the shurikens that had hit Obito passed through Obito's body. The gap between us is like a chasm, and your attack will have no effect on me. Obito looked at Chinhui proudly. Then, he immediately threw an olive branch to Chinhui. I'm very interested in your strength, how about you come and do things under my hand? Haha, it's up to you. Are you worthy? Chinhui sneered at Obito. It seems we still have to show you some strength first. Obito shrugged, then his hands shook, and a pair of sickles connected by chains appeared in his hands. I have to remind you that I caused the 9 Tails chaos 8 years ago, so you must not keep your hands. Otherwise, we'll die. With that, Obito crossed the 2 sickles into a cross, and then quickly rushed towards Chinhui. 9 Tails chaos. Chinhui smiled faintly, and then rushed towards Obito. At the same time, he threw a kunai at Obito's head, and then his left hand quickly condensed a small black ball. Obito is still unavoidable in the face of the incoming kunai. He who has Kamui doesn't care about this kind of tricks. At the next moment, Chinhui's kuwu passed through Obito's head again, and Obito had already come to Chinhui, with the sickle in his hands also crossing Chinhui's waist. At this time, the black ball in Chinhui's hand has just condensed. I won. Obito grinned, and then pulled the sickle to leave 2 eternal marks on Chinhui's body. That's the price of underestimating me. But when Obito's sickle was about to pierce Chinhui's body, Chinhui disappeared instantly. Then, a terrifying voice came from the top of his head. No, you are wrong. I won. Big spiral wheel you. Chinhui shouted, and then directly slammed the black ball in Obito's head into Obito's head. When the black ball made physical contact with Obito's head, Chinhui's right eye suddenly changed to the appearance of Mangekyo. Then he instantly left the place and appeared on the eaves 100 meters away. The next moment, a huge spherical light group, centered on the confrontation point of Chinhui and Obito, instantly enveloped the surrounding area of nearly 100 meters. When the light group dissipated, all the matter within a radius of tens of meters in between had disappeared, only a huge pit with a diameter of nearly 100 meters was left in the same place. This trick is exactly the trick of Naruto face hemp after the blackening in the original theatrical version. And the more chakra used to release this trick, the greater its power. The original numbness destroyed the entire Konoha with just one blow. What Chinhui used was only conventional power, but even so, he still instantly destroyed the material in a radius of nearly 100 meters. There was no Obito's body inside, but Chinhui did not relax his vigilance, but once again looked at the void on the side. Ha 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 ha, you guy, you almost killed you. With the death of a large number of roots, news of an ambush in the Uchiha tribe soon spread outside the barrier. I knew Uchiha's people couldn't believe it. After receiving the news, Danzo snorted suddenly. Then, he immediately said to Anbu on the side, "Go tell Hiruzen, Uchiha Itachi betrayed, let him summon all the people above Chunin, we will directly annihilate Uchiha. Yes, that Anbu immediately took the order to leave. Go, let's go in first. Danzo waved his hand and quickly entered the enchantment with the hundreds of elites at the end of the routes. As soon as they entered the enchantment, a huge roar suddenly made the eardrums of these people hurt. Danzo immediately looked in the direction of the roar, and saw an extremely dazzling light group quickly spreading around, covering a radius of nearly 100 meters in a short moment. Feeling the terrifying power within, Danzo's pupils couldn't help but shrank suddenly. What a powerful ninjutsu! He hesitated a little, and wanted to wait for Hiruzen to come together. But soon he remembered the newly acquired right eye and the 6 Sharingan on the right arm. Suddenly, Danzo's confidence increased. Let's go. Danzo waved his hand and swiftly galloped away with the group of roots in the direction of the explosion. At the same time, Uchiha Peak, which had already settled the invasion route on the other side, quickly rushed to that side with a large group of troops. Obito gasped heavily and appeared on the eaves of Chinhui in the distance, looking at Chinhui's figure with extreme fear. At this time, Obito no longer had the mystery and unrestrainedness when he first appeared. His robes had been reduced to fragments, and the mask on his face was mostly broken, revealing 2 Sharingan with different shapes. And one of them, Sharingan, is emitting a weird red light. Izanagi, it's decisive. Chinhui curled his lips. He really wanted to solve Obito now. But since Obito opened Izanagi, at his current level, he will be immortal for at least the next 5 minutes, and killing him is no longer realistic. You are Flying Thunder God technique. Obito looked at Chinhui suspiciously. How similar the moment he was when he was brutally abused by 4th generation. No, it can't be Flying Thunder God. Before Chinhui could answer, Obito shook his head and vetoed it. Flying Thunder God is Konoha's highest level of ninjutsu. As a member of the Uchiha clan, it is impossible for you to learn it. Chinhui couldn't deny a smile. This is the power of his Mangekyo Sharingan's right eye God's presence. This ability allows him to see through the space and instantly appear anywhere in the line of sight or perception, without the need for cooling time. Chinhui said faintly, "It is said that one can gain one's wisdom by eating 1 bite, but you still don't have a long memory. You can fall twice in the same place. It seems that I think highly of you. Except for the ability of Hollow 5 minutes, you are really useless. How can you know me so clearly?" Obito's eyes widened suddenly. His Mangekyo Sharingan's ability was known to Namikaze Minato besides himself, and only he knew the exact time of his ability. But now Chinhui has directly broken this ability, and the time is not bad. Coupled with Chinhui's mysterious and unpredictable spatial ability, Chinhui now stands firmly among the Shadow class powerhouses. This immediately gave him the mind to retreat. Want to run? Chinhui raised his eyebrows, and then mocked. Why, the famous ninja Shura, Uchiha Madara, will also run away like a bereaved dog. Chinhui also deliberately emphasized the tone when he said, Uchiha Madara. Hearing that, Obito's mouth twitched. He really wanted to escape. After all, he took this one with the backup Sharingan. Fortunately, with a half mask covering it, Obito did not reveal his expression. So Obito snorted and said, I admit that your strength is beyond expectation, but this can't be your arrogant capital in front of me. But in his mind, Obito secretly calculated, my Izanagi can exist for 7 minutes. During this time, I can use the immortality characteristics to deal with Chinhui. If you can't find a solution to him after the time has passed, it will not be too late for me to leave. Thinking of this, Obito raised the sickle in both hands again and looked at Chinhui vigilantly. Chinhui shrugged when he heard the words, and said, if this is the case, then I will continue to play with you. With that said, Chinhui did not hide anymore, and opened Mangekyo Sharingan directly. After all, the next Obito won't care about it. This is Mangekyo Sharingan. Obito's eyes widened when he saw this. He never expected Chinhui to turn on Mangekyo Sharingan silently. Then the space-time ninjutsu you used just now is your Mangekyo's own pupil technique, right? Chinhui smiled unchallenged. He was not prepared to conceal the power of these eyes. Because even if it is known, it is still unsolvable. Obito became more and more afraid when he saw this. He knew that Mangekyo had 2 powerful pupil skills besides Susanoo. But now Chinhui only makes him helpless with one of them, but he doesn't understand the other. And all his abilities are known to Chinhui. Obviously, this is an extremely unbalanced duel. With the immortal time off Izanagi, I have to test Chinhui's other ability as soon as possible. He is definitely the enemy of my future plans. Obito narrowed his eyes, and then quickly killed Chinhui. After all, he didn't have much time. Then have a good fight. Seeing this, Chinhui was already holding a sword in a posture to meet. Neither of them are going to use ninjutsu, after all, they both have space and time abilities. Using ninjutsu will only consume a lot of chakra. In the next moment, the two clashed fiercely together. Chinhui has learned Uchiha flow swordsmanship. After the system has advanced it, this swordsmanship has also reached the S grade, which is even more weird and difficult to prevent. Obito has the ability of Kamui Hollow, coupled with the transplantation of White Zetsu, chakra and Mangekyo's pupil power have been greatly improved. Therefore, Obito's physical attacks are always used in conjunction with Hollow. Before this, apart from being educated once by 4th generation with Flying Thunder God, there is basically no disadvantage. But today he met Chinhui, who also had the ability of time and space, and he was suddenly deflated again. Facing Chinhui's endless swordsmanship, once Obito uses Hollow, Chinhui will take advantage of the feature that cannot be used again 5 seconds after Hollow, combined with his God presence, and give it to Obito the moment Obito appears. He has a fatal blow. Thanks to Izanagi, Obito was able to survive Chinhui's fatal attacks time and time again. As time passed slowly, Obito became more anxious. His Izanagi is not permanent. When Chinhui abused Obito, a group of people with their own minds gradually approached the battlefield of the two. Danzo hides in the dark, squinting his eyes to observe Chinhui and Obito who are facing each other in the field. That is the guy who calls himself Uchiha Madara, and there is another. Uchiha Chinhui. He turned on Mangekyo Sharingan too. Danzo frowned deeply. He naturally knew Chinhui, the Uchiha genius who was as famous as Itachi. As expected of the Uchiha clan, there is another pair of Mangekyo Sharingan in silence. Sure enough, this group is very dangerous, and it is Konoha's real threat. Danzo looked at Chinhui's eyes with a trace of murderous intent. At this time, he did not continue to doubt Itachi. After all, Uchiha Madara was with Itachi, and now, Madara is trying to stop Chinhui. It seems that those ambushes just now are Chinhui's handwriting. Danzo quickly figured out the key points, but soon, his eyes were shocked again. That's time-space ninjutsu. Danzo was horrified. He just watched Chinhui clearly appear behind Madara, instantly piercing Madara's chest with a sword. Then, he saw the pierced body of Madara suddenly disappeared and appeared intact in the next moment. Madara was forced to use Izanagi. Danzo's face twitched. As the darkness of ninja world, he has connections with all major forces, both overt and dark. He has naturally seen the strength of Madara. Even if he gets Shisui's eyes, he still has no confidence in defeating the mysterious and unpredictable Madara, who also masters space ninjutsu. But now it is such a powerful opponent, Chinhui has made him use Izanagi at the cost of blindness in one eye. The horror scenes one by one made Danzo look at Chinhui's eyes suddenly full of murderous intent. You can't stay here. Danzo made up his mind. Then he waved his hand, and the group of roots suddenly realized that they began to scatter and slowly surround Chinhui and Obito. Danzo squinted his eyes to observe the battlefield, secretly calculating in his heart. Although space-time ninjutsu is powerful, it requires a certain medium or other conditions. Although I don't know the characteristics of Chinhui's space-time ninjutsu, the moment he uses it, it must be his weakest time. Obito gasped and looked at Chinhui on the opposite side. In just 2 minutes, he was actually killed by Chinhui 5 times. Although this also caused him to test out Chinhui's weakness in another pupil technique, he also knew that Chinhui's strength had already surpassed him at this time. After all, in addition to the need to consume chakra and pupil skills, there is no longer any limited time and space abilities. At this time, the ninja world is undoubtedly unsolvable. Try it for another 3 minutes, if it still doesn't work, I will immediately retreat. Obito still has about 4 minutes of Izanagi at this time, and every time he is killed and resurrected, it will consume a lot of his chakra. Continue to consume it, even if he has an intermediate sage body, his combat effectiveness will be greatly reduced afterwards. Why, after thinking for so long, have you thought of a way to deal with me? Chinhui sneered at Obito. Or, are you going to run away? Hehe, although your space and time abilities are indeed powerful, don't jump to conclusions so early, the game between us has just begun. Obito said without showing any weakness. Chinhui shrugged when he heard the words, and was indeed observing the movement of the clan in his heart. At this time, Uchiha Peak and the others have solved the root of the invasion, and are now rushing here quickly. And Itachi also met Fugaku, hesitating while raising the knife. And also, Chinhui glanced at Danzo's hiding place. Chinhui actually found them when they first arrived. Chinhui secretly calculated. There are still 15 minutes, then I will play with you again. Then, Chinhui sneered at Obito, appeared behind Obito in the next instant, and swept his sword towards Obito's neck. But after this period of duel, Obito was also prepared, and Hollow instantly escaped the blow. At the same time, Obito waved the sickle of his right hand and slashed towards Chinhui's waist. But Chinhui appeared on the other side of Obito again, and another sword pierced Obito's chest. Obito waved another sickle and hurriedly stopped Chinhui's blow. Danzo watched the duel intently. Just after Chinhui used God Pro to appear again, he waved his hand violently. The group of roots suddenly realized, and then under the orderly command, they released various ninjutsu against the center of the battlefield. Earth-style Earth Dragon Bullet. Earth-style Wonkwon Marsh. Fire-style Fire Dragon Bomb. Wind-style Breakthrough. Hundreds of ninjutsu instantly covered the entire battlefield. Then, the violent explosion made the entire Uchiha tribe like daylight. This group of roots was also released after ninja, and immediately fled away to avoid being affected by the aftermath. Should be dead. Danzo watched the gorgeous explosion in the field intently. At this moment, the space next to Danzo was slightly distorted, and then Obito's figure suddenly appeared. You guy, do you want to kill me together? Obito looked at Danzo coldly. At the moment of the root attack, he had just quit Hollow. If it hadn't been for Izanagi, he would at least be seriously injured and dying. With Izanagi, I can't kill you. Danzo snorted without showing weakness. And I killed a very strong opponent for you, you have to thank me. When Obito heard the words, a flash of mockery flashed in his eyes. At this moment, a voice suddenly changed the triumphant Danzo's complexion. Hidden for so long, I thought you would make some powerful moves, but I didn't expect it to be just this. It's really disappointing. Danzo stared at the center of the explosion, where the flames gradually began to faint, replaced by a dazzling golden light. The scene suddenly became quiet. Da, da, a slow and crisp footstep sounded, and the golden light shone more and more. Despair. The footsteps stopped, and a figure stood faintly in the smoke, but at this moment a gust of wind blew. When the smoke was blown away, Chinhui was standing unscathed in the ruins. And Chinhui's whole body is wrapped by a dazzling giant golden rib. This is Susanoo, Danzo suddenly exclaimed. As a disciple of second Hokage, he had witnessed the end of the Sengoku era when he was young. He naturally knew what Susanoo represented. This is the ultimate power of Uchiha. Back then, Uchiha Madara shocked the ninja world with this, and was revered as the ninja Asura, with its powerful destructive power to destroy the world. Obito on the side is also dignified, he knows more than Danzo. Although Mangekyo Sharingan can acquire all kinds of incredible powers after awakening, it takes time to adapt and explore. Obito thought to himself, it seems that this guy is very hidden, maybe he opened Mangekyo earlier than Itachi. At that time, I was able to hide it from me, this guy's scheming is by no means simple. Since you have all done it, if I am still indifferent, then I can't justify it. Chinhui looked plainly at Danzo and the roots behind him. Obito saw this and silently used Kamui to stay away from Danzo. Now that someone comes to help him attract Chinhui's hatred, he naturally has to get out quickly. Chinhui glanced, and did not step forward to stop it. After all, the time for Obito's Izanagi has not passed yet, and it would be a waste of chakra to continue to fight him. Chinhui faintly said to Danzo, didn't you always covet my Uchiha's power? I will let you see it today. After all, Chinhui started walking towards Danzo step by step. As he moved around, Susanoo around him began to change. Susanoo, who had only the breastbone, began to grow, and soon his arms grew, and then his head. When Shinhui walked 10 meters in front of Danzo and the others, a half-length golden skull of more than 30 meters was already formed. In front of this huge Susanoo, Danzo and his group were as weak as ants. Even if it was a group of root members who had no feelings, they couldn't help swallowing and spitting at this time. Shinhui thought, and saw that Susanoo changed again. The golden silk thread was continuously entwined on the skeleton, and the skeleton was soon covered with meridians and flesh and blood. Then, a layer of golden coat wrapped it, and a long sword suddenly appeared on Susanoo's right hand. This is the second form of Susanoo. The next moment, Shinhui sneered at Danzo, and Susanoo in the second form directly raised the sword. Danzo was shocked when he saw this. He immediately left the place with the instant technique. At the same time, he shouted at the group of roots, "Run away." When the people at the root heard the command, they immediately breathed a sigh of relief, and then wanted to use the body flicker technique to leave like Danzo. But soon, the complexion of this group of roots changed. Although they are running, the surrounding scenery hasn't changed at all. What happened? Danzo in the distance was shocked. In his eyes, those roots are like stepping in place. No matter how hard they try, they can't escape the area attacked by Susanoo. Have you been in illusion? Danzo frowned deeply. He secretly calculated, should I use Izanagi to block this attack? No, this guy has space and time ninjutsu. Even if I use Izanagi, I can't take him down. That will only waste the Sharingan that I have treasured for a long time. Besides, there is a Uchiha Madara of unknown depth. Let's wait for Hiruzen to come and deal with this guy together. Danzo sighed. These roots are all his accumulated heritage in order to compete for the position of Naruto. But compared to Sharingan, Danzo decided to abandon them. After all, this genocide plan obviously failed, and Shinhui still has time and space to be able to come and go freely with ninjutsu, so the possibility of him getting Sharingan in the future is greatly reduced. And even if this group of subordinates are dead, there are still hundreds of talented children in training at the root. Coupled with his wooing of all races, within a few years he will be able to draw out a strong team again. But despite this, Danzo's heart is still very angry. Shinhui boy, when the old man becomes Hokage, you will definitely pay the price for today's behavior. Obito in the distance watched this scene steadily. With Kamui, he noticed the spatial fluctuations in it. He muttered to himself, is this your second pupil technique? Limited space, really powerful enough. I just don't know, does this trick work for my Kamui? At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen finally rushed to the clan territory after receiving the news. But because of his trust in Itachi, he just transferred all Anbu over, and did not notify the other regular ninjas. After all, Anbu is usually used to all kinds of filth, and Sarutobi Hiruzen is also easier to control them. And there are certain things that those regular ninjas don't know, can they be more suitable for him? Sarutobi Hiruzen dominates. Arriving outside of the Uchiha clan, Sarutobi Hiruzen saw that there was no Danzo in sight, and immediately waved his hand. Said, follow me in. After that, he led a group of people to the Uchiha clan in the barrier. As soon as they entered the enchantment, they saw the behemoth over 30 meters high. This is Susanoo. Sarutobi Hiruzen's pupils shrank suddenly. Whose is this? Is it Itachi? Then he didn't dare to hesitate, and immediately took a group of Anbu and galloped away. On the other side, the Fugaku family who rushed to Susanoo also noticed Susanoo's movement. It has changed, and the attack is about to begin. Fugaku said in a deep voice. Itachi frowned and asked, Father, has anyone else in Uchiha started Mangekyo Sharingan? Fugaku shook his head and nodded. He said, before it was you and me. But this time you choose to slaughter the tribesmen. Maybe someone has advanced Sharingan after seeing the death of their relatives, and even opened Mangekyo Sharingan. This. Itachi's pupils shrank suddenly. Fugaku sighed and said, be prepared, since I have chosen to stand by your side, I won't change my mind again. Uchiha Peak brought together hundreds of Uchiha elites, and naturally noticed the appearance of Susanoo. He suddenly shouted with excitement, that is my Uchiha's ultimate strength. Shinhui is right over there. Let's rush over to support. Yes, a group of people responded loudly. At the same time, Due to the blocking of Chinhui and Uchiha peaks, those routes were intercepted at the periphery. The Uchiha people who were sleeping inside were also awakened by various explosions. After seeing Susanoo, those who were capable began to rush there. Chinhui looked at the group of people at the root of the intention to flee coldly, and then directly controlled Susanoo to swing a knife. Finally, a few people in this group of roots saw no results in their escape, and wanted to use ninjutsu to intercept Chinhui's attack. But Susanoo swung the knife too fast, and their attack had already fallen before their seal was over. Boom! The moment Susanoo touched the ground, he cut the ground into a ditch tens of meters long. And those roots, except for a few lucky ones, the rest have all been buried under this attack. Good power. Chinhui is very satisfied with the power of Susanoo. What kind of ninjutsu are you? Danzo shouted angrily at Chinhui. Do you want to know? Chinhui raised an eyebrow. Please, I'll tell you. You. Danzo glared at Chinhui suddenly. Danzo. At this moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen finally arrived with a group of Anbu. At the same time, the Fugaku family and a group of Uchiha peak also rushed here from different directions. Then, it was the group of Uchiha people who didn't know anything. Itachi and Fugaku fixedly looked at Chinhui under Susanoo, and the tens of meters long gap, they were shocked and unable to speak. Name: Uchiha Itachi. Blood successor. Mangekyo Sharingan used unfamiliarly, not fully developed. Ninjutsu. Mangekyo Sharingan, Distinguished Heavenly Gods, Illusory Crow Technique C, Fire Style Great Fireball Technique C, Fire Style Pinch and Flower Technique C, Uchiha Flow Swordsmanship A. Chakra Quality. Early stage of the film. Combat Power Evaluation. Early stage of the Shadow Level, Frontal Confrontation. Name: Uchiha Fugaku. Blood Follower. Mangekyo Sharingan, Controlled. Ninjutsu. Shadow Clone Technique B, Fire Style Great Fireball Technique C, Fire Style Impatience Technique C. Chakra Quality. Early stage of the film. Combat Evaluation. Mid-stage Shadow, Frontal Confrontation. Name: Sarutobi Hiruzen, 3rd Hokage. Blood Succession. None. Ninjutsu. 5 Attribute Escape Technique. Shadow Clone Technique B, Ghoul Sealing S, Summoning Technique Ape Demon. Chakra Quality. Peak of the Shadow Level, all proficient in all 5 attributes. Combat Power Evaluation. Late stage of the film level, Frontal Confrontation, limited by the body, the strength begins to decline, the peak period is the peak of the film level. Name: Shimura Danzo. Blood Follower. Mangekyo Sharingan, Single Primary Sage Body, Transplanted Hashirama Cells. Ninjutsu. Elementary Wood Style. Wind Style Proficiency, Li Sixiong Seal, Shadow Clone Technique B. Chakra Quality. Early stage of the film. Combat Power Evaluation. Early stage of the Shadow Level, Frontal Confrontation, not using Izanagi. Tisk tut. Chinhui jumped to the front of Uchiha Peak and the others. Chinhui. Uchiha Feng opened his mouth. Just leave it to me. Chinhui waved and interrupted. Uchiha nodded, then stepped back and stopped speaking. And the Uchiha people behind did not say anything, they were all close to Chinhui and belonged to the Chinhui line. Coupled with Chinhui now opening Mangekyo Sharingan, they are naturally more convinced of Chinhui. Uchiha is a race that advocates the strong. On the other side, a group of people are a little confused. They live in the inner circle of Uchiha clan land, so they are naturally close to Fugaku. So in the end they came to Fugaku. Patriarch, what happened? One of the tribe asked Fugaku. Fugaku opened his mouth, but said nothing. He can't tell this group of people, I am going to use your life in exchange for the life of my youngest son, I want him to be Uchiha's future, right? The Uchiha peak in the distance suddenly sneered and shouted, don't ask, our good patriarch will let his son destroy us. What? The group suddenly looked at Fugaku with disbelief. Danzo felt bad when he saw this. When he saw that Uchiha Fugaku and his son did not stand together with Chinhui, he suddenly felt that this was an opportunity. So he can't let this group of Uchiha people who don't know anything, and even belong to Konoha, just throw themselves into Chinhui's hands. He hurriedly shouted, don't listen to his nonsense. Uchiha Chinhui intends to launch a rebellion, but the Fugaku patriarch did not agree, so he wants to kill all those who oppose him tonight. The Fugaku patriarch was aware of Chinhui's conspiracy, so let us help quell this rebellion. Danzo's words are full of loopholes, but this group of Uchiha people are close to Konoha, so they look at their most trusted patriarch Fugaku, wanting to get an accurate answer from him. Fugaku frowned. The moment he saw Chinhui, he immediately realized that this was a good opportunity. As long as he can convince Itachi, Uchiha will have 3 pairs of shadow-class powerhouses with Mangekyo. At this time, Konoha is the only ones in the village at this time, 3rd generation and Danzo, this is their chance. So he immediately denied Danzo's words. But at this moment, he caught a glimpse of Danzo's mouth. Suddenly, Fugaku's complexion changed drastically. After a long time, he nodded decadently and said, Elder Danzo is right. Wow. After Fugaku finished speaking, all the people of Uchiha were in an uproar. The difference is that Chinhui's people are glaring at Fugaku, while Fugaku's people are glaring at Chinhui. Uchiha Fugaku, have you forgotten your identity? A middle-aged man behind Chinhui stretched out his hand and pointed at Fugaku angrily. At first, when Uchiha Peak found them, they were still skeptical of what Uchiha Peak said. But after seeing the invasion of the roots, most of them believed. However, they still have a bit of suspicion about Fugaku's betrayal. After all, Fugaku has actually done a lot for Uchiha over the years. But when Fugaku personally confessed Danzo's words, this trust turned into monstrous anger. Fugaku, you pretend to be the patriarch of my Uchiha. Fugaku, you traitor. A group of people pointed at Fugaku and cursed. Facing the accusations of these people, Fugaku lowered his head in shame. His youngest son Sasuke is not in the clan at this time, and Danzo's mouth shape just now is the name, Sasuke. Fugaku chose family in the end among ethnic groups and families. At this moment, the clansmen on Fugaku's side also began to yell at Chinhui. You are the traitors, you want to slaughter your relatives because of your own personal interests. That's right, you will know that you will destroy the relationship between the ethnic group and the village by shouting and killing all day long. This group of people are either Fugaku's confidants, or they have their hearts on Konoha, so they naturally chose to believe in Fugaku's Danzo's lie. Obito in the distance saw this, and a sneer flashed in his eyes. At the beginning, Madara had told him about being betrayed by the people. How similar is this to the scene in front of you? However, the slight difference is that 40% of Uchiha people chose to stand on Chinhui's side. Obito murmured secretly. Some people have bent legs. As long as they can get a hypocritical peace, even if they lose their dignity and freedom, they will not hesitate. And some people can give up all bottom lines for profit. So, the only way to save the world is infinite Tsukuyomi. And I will personally create a new era. All right. Chinhui controlled Susanoo to slash to the side, and the loud explosion suddenly stopped the 2 parties who were arguing with each other. Chinhui gave Fugaku a cold look, but he was not disappointed, because he only cared about the people related to him. Since this group of people chose to stand on the opposite side of him, he was too lazy to persuade them with all their heart. They have to bear the consequences for the choices they make themselves. Chinhui said lightly. Since they choose to believe Danzo and Fugaku, let them believe it. I will take you out of here, and let them bear the bitter fruit of their choice. At this time, Danzo jumped out again. Chinhui, you tried to lead this group of people to rebel against Konoha, do you think you can leave Konoha intact? The arrival of Hiruzen and Fugaku's compromise made Danzo, who was fearful, immediately confident. After all, with the Uchiha Madara in the distance, they have a full 5 shadow ranks. Jumping beam clown, always annoying. Chinhui glared at Danzo in disgust, and Danzo suddenly felt dizzy in his mind. But soon, the severe pain from his right eye made Danzo come back to his senses in an instant. He just returned to his senses, only to find that Chinhui was already standing in front of him. He suddenly felt bad, but before Danzo could react, he felt another sharp pain in his heart. Chinhui actually pierced his heart with another sword. Suddenly, Danzo fainted and fell to the ground. In the eyes of everyone watching the battle, Chinhui cancelled Susanoo in an instant, and then as if teleporting, he came to Danzo from 100 meters away in the blink of an eye. Space-time ninjutsu. Hiruzen was shocked when he saw this. But before he could react, Chinhui easily took off Danzo's bandage-wrapped right eye with lightning speed, and pierced Danzo's chest with a sword. Danzo. Hiruzen, a good friend of Danzo, exclaimed. He quickly threw a few swords at Shinhui, trying to force Shinhui to let go of Danzo. However, Hiruzen's shuriken was like a child juggling in Shinhui's eyes with Mangekyo Sharingan, and Shinhui easily blocked it by swinging the sword. Then, Shinhui glanced at a clearing in the distance. Have you prepared Izanagi in advance? You are quite cautious. As soon as Shinhui's voice fell, Danzo's corpse, which was already lying in a pool of blood, gradually disappeared like a phantom. Then, Danzo panted and appeared in the area Shinhui was watching. Danzo looked at Shinhui in horror, but secretly rejoiced in his heart. Fortunately, after seeing Shinhui using the time and space forbearance before, he secretly nodded the seal of Izanagi. As long as he is fatally wounded, Izanagi will start. This was lucky enough to be killed by Shinhui's attack, but his right eye. Tisk tut. Shinhui sighed in a pity, I would have cut off your arm first. Then, Shinhui took out the medicine bottle he had prepared, and put Shisui's right eye taken from Danzo into it. You. Danzo immediately glared at Shinhui when he saw this, but he finally got Mangekyo. There are not many in the whole world. Shinhui didn't care about Danzo's eyes that wished to eat him. He slowly said, I think you have 6 Sharingan on your right arm. That means you can use Izanagi 6 times. And with your talent, you can die for 1 minute at a time, that is, you only have 6 minutes of invincibility. It's really wasteful. While talking, Shinhui appeared behind Danzo again, and another sword pierced his chest. Danzo fell to the ground again with an expression of pain. But soon, his figure appeared from another place. Except for a few people who knew Izanagi, everyone on the side was shocked. After being killed, it can be resurrected, almost in a state of immortality. They have never seen such a powerful ability. As Uchiha Sharingan's power, really an enviable clan. Sarutobi Hiruzen squinted. Since Danzo could not die, he turned his attention to Shinhui. He secretly said in his heart, Shinhui has the power of time and space, and now no one Konoha can take him. But looking at his appearance, he takes good care of the group of people behind him, but he can use this as a breakthrough point. Pace him down first, and then slowly figure it out in the future. Thinking of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly felt confident. Then, he hurriedly shouted to Shinhui who abused Danzo, Shinhui, stop first, I believe there must be some misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. Shinhui kicked Danzo, and then looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen with a sneer. Do you think I know nothing? I know all about your conspiracy with Danzo and your collusion with Itachi. Hearing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes suddenly flashed with light. He smiled and said, Shinhui, you really misunderstood. Why don't we sit down and talk first, lest we continue to fight and implicate innocent people like you? Ha ha. Shinhui suddenly turned back and laughed. He said in a low voice, are you threatening me? No, no. Sarutobi Hiruzen waved his hand quickly, and then put on a compassionate air. Said, I just don't want to see innocent people implicated. After all, you are all part of Konoha and my family. Ha 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 ha. Shinhui couldn't help laughing when he heard the words. Family. Are you telling me about family? Shinhui smiled and stroked his forehead, and finally stopped the smile. He said lightly, then let's talk about how Sarutobi Hiruzen treats your family. Shinhui bit the word, family, very hard. Remember who Senju Tobarama is? Shinhui asked suddenly. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned and said, he is my teacher, Konoha's second Hokage, I know it naturally. Yes, not bad. Shinhui nodded repeatedly. Then he turned around and said coldly, I just don't know if you have the face to meet your teacher after you die. When Sarutobi Hiruzen heard this, he was very upset. He quickly asked, what do you mean? Ha ha. Shinhui sneered and began to slowly reveal a secret. At the beginning, the Senju clan and my Uchiha clan jointly founded Konoha. After more than 10 years of development, Senju Tobarama succeeded him as second Hokage. And Senju Tobarama, in order to prevent the Naruto from becoming exclusive to the Senju clan, and to protect the Senju clan's bloodline, finally chose to disband the Senju clan, remove the surname, erase the identity, and merge into Konoha. Nevertheless, he still left dozens of direct personnel to maintain Senju's name. And when Sarutobi Hiruzen came to the top, he still had the support of the late first Hokage's widow Uzumaki Mito, who was not well known, before he settled on the position of Hokage. But when Uzumaki Mito dies, Sarutobi Hiruzen will no longer hide your wolf ambition. During World War II, you continued to send various arduous tasks to Senju's only remaining direct line and let them all die on the battlefield. You haven't even let go of your disciple Tsunade's younger brother. Now that Tsunade leaves the village, it is more of your persecution. You spit people. Sarutobi Hiruzen pointed at Chinhui angrily. Chinhui has a plain face. In the remarks just now, some were recorded in the Uchiha clan, and some were just speculations. But it doesn't matter if it is true or not. Chinhui, he just planted a nail in the hearts of Sarutobi Hiruzen and the people present. After all, although the people present are Anbu, they are not the roots. They are all geniuses from major families or commoners, and they all have their own ideas. As long as they are suspicious of Sarutobi Hiruzen, although this is not enough to make him fatal, it can also make him feel like a dog in his throat and restless in the future. Chinhui said faintly, I'm just telling what I know. As for whether it's true or not, yes. And Danzo, you too understand it in your heart. When Sarutobi Hiruzen heard this, his cheeks suddenly twitched. Chinhui's move is to retreat, which directly increases the credibility of this matter. Sarutobi Hiruzen can vaguely feel the hundreds of suspicious eyes behind him. Seeing this, Chinhui smiled coldly. He was not ready to end this way. At this moment, he noticed a white-haired figure behind Sarutobi Hiruzen. So Chinhui asked jokingly, since you even remember Senju Tobarama, you must also remember Konoha White Fang. As soon as these words came out, Danzo, Sarutobi Hiruzen, and the white-haired man behind him suddenly shocked. Chinhui continued, I think, when Konoha was at its worst, Shiroya alone took up the war with Sunagakur, the country of wind. In that war, Bai Fang demonstrated unparalleled strength and excellent commanding ability, allowing Konoha to win the battle. Afterwards, Bai Fang's reputation soared, and some people even asked him to be fourth Hokage. You, Sarutobi Hiruzen, are naturally unwilling to abdicate like this, so you secretly instructed Danzo, who also has agreed for the position of Naruto, to frame him and wipe his black and white teeth. In the end, Bai Fang was scolded by the ignorant civilians of Konoha for the reason of giving up the mission to save his teammates, and finally chose to self-decide at home. Just ask, with the strength of the white teeth and the Shinshin that can achieve this kind of strength, how could it be possible to self-decision for such a ridiculous reason? You know what role Sarutobi Hiruzen plays in it, you probably know it yourself. Oh, by the way. And Danzo. After Chinhui finished speaking, Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly became anxious. He didn't expect Chinhui to reveal the incident. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced aside slightly, and as expected, Hitaki Kakashi's eyes had begun to change when he saw him. So he quickly explained, I commend Shumao, Hakuya's name, full name Hitaki Shumao, for his way of cherishing companions, because Konoha is a big family, and every companion in it is our family. Quote, I also deplore Shumao's self-decision. I didn't expect him to go around because of those rumors. Speaking of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly put on a sad expression. Then, he said boldly, but this also just shows Shumao's love for the village. That's why he cares so much about the villagers' views of him. Tsukumo is a hero, and his actions will be recorded in Konoha's history. He is worth paying tribute to all Konoha's villagers. Papa. When Sarutobi Hiruzen said this, Chinhui couldn't help but applaud him. Chinhui said with emotion, Third Hokage is really worthy of the title Off-Mouth Hokage. A mouth can turn black into white, and everyone present is probably less than 3 points. Then, Chinhui's face changed, and he asked in a cold voice, let me ask you, what was the position of White Fang? When Sarutobi Hiruzen heard this, his pupils shrank, and he immediately interrupted. But Chinhui was not going to give him a chance. He said directly, at first, Bai Fang was Minister Anbu. So the task he performed is naturally Anbu's highest task, and Anbu only obeys Hokage's orders. How can the situation of the mission be leaked under such strict rules? Or is it so that the whole village knows it? Without your third Hokage's order, would the group of people performing the task dare to disclose it? After Chinhui finished speaking, the audience looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen incredible. It's all for this. The people present are not fools. Obviously, the death of White Fang is absolutely inseparable from Sarutobi Hiruzen. Looking at the eyes of everyone present that contained various emotions, Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly panicked. He didn't expect things to be like this. Where did Chinhui know so much secrets? Sarutobi Hiruzen roared in his heart. At this time, he has lost his original ambitions, and just wants to spend the rest of his life with the respect of countless people in the village. But if what Chinhui said today is publicized, he can imagine how the villagers will think of him in the future. He doesn't want to lose it in the late festival. But obviously in the current form, he would not believe anything he said. Suddenly, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Chinhui resentfully, and his eyes couldn't wait to eat Chinhui directly. What? Nothing to say. Chinhui didn't care about the look in his eyes. Not only that, but there was a burst of happiness in his heart. When he watched Naruto, in his previous life, he didn't catch a cold with Sarutobi Hiruzen. However, Sarutobi Hiruzen has a good disciple, Orochimaru, which finally allowed him to enter the earth with the glory of guarding Konoha at a painful age. But now that Chinhui is here, he naturally does not want Sarutobi Hiruzen to get a good home. Not to mention the feud between them. Dealing with the enemy, nothing makes him the most painful than destroying the things he cares about the most. And what Sarutobi Hiruzen cares most about is naturally the glory he carefully created. Facing Chinhui's questioning, Sarutobi Hiruzen was speechless. He has no power to explain the fact that the evidence is conclusive. But at this moment, Danzo, who was kicked by Chinhui, stood in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Danzo snorted coldly. Chinhui boy, although the old man doesn't know where you know my secrets, you don't want to use these to discredit Hiruzen. I, Danzo, do everything by myself. These are what I ordered my roots to do. Danzo. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Danzo's back with emotion. He didn't expect Danzo to be willing to bear these charges for him at this time. Danzo ignored Hiruzen's affectionate call, and continued, the old man has been dissatisfied that the second-generation teacher passed the position of Naruto to Hiruzen. In terms of strength and prestige, I was not inferior to him at all. Because I hesitated for a second, I missed Hokage. So the old man is not convinced. The Senju clan supports Hiruzen most, so I will send them all dangerous tasks to destroy Hiruzen's help. And that white tooth, the prestige at the beginning is better than Hiruzen, completely blocking my road to Naruto. That's why I have to get rid of him. But I didn't expect his will to be so weak. Originally, I just wanted to ruin his reputation, but he decided at home. But the old man doesn't regret doing all this, because I am the best candidate for Hokage. Wow. After Danzo finished speaking, the audience was in an uproar. I didn't expect you Danzo to be so responsible, but I took a high look at you. Chinhui looked at Danzo quite surprised. It is true that Danzo did all these things, but this was also the tacit approval of Sarutobi Hiruzen, otherwise Danzo would not have so much power. And it stands to reason that Sarutobi Hiruzen fell, and Danzo was the most favorable at this time. Even he can use this opportunity to seek to win the long-awaited position of Hokage. But Danzo actually gave up this opportunity and chose to stand up for Sarutobi Hiruzen. As Thistlelove and Kill, Chinhui's eyes on Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo suddenly became subtle. I don't need you to praise yet. Danzo didn't know what Chinhui was thinking at this time. After a cold snort, he immediately shouted to the crowd of Anbu. The old man knows his sins are serious, but the most important thing at this time is to resolve Uchiha's rebellion. Chinhui keeps changing the subject, just to delay time. Although we don't know what plot he has, we can't be fooled by his plot. Tell me to kill these rebellious Uchiha people, and the old man will let Hokage deal with it afterwards. Danzo's remarks were very provocative. Although some of these Anbu still had doubts about Sarutobi Hiruzen, most of them chose to believe him. After all, Sarutobi Hiruzen's brainwashing has been quite effective over the past few decades. Then, under the leadership of Danzo, the group of Anbu watched Chinhui and his group vigilantly. Obviously, they were prepared to put down the civil strife first. Tisk tusk tusk. You guessed it by accident. Chinhui shook his head regretfully. Now there are still 8 minutes left before the time he set. But since it was found through, then I will accompany you no matter how much fun. Then, Chinhui closed his eyes and opened it suddenly, and immediately opened Mangekyo Sharingan. In the next instant, Chinhui directly used the God Pro to come to Sarutobi Hiruzen's body, and a sword swept his waist. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen regressed because of his old age, his years of combat experience made him end up with the body flicker technique seal at the instant Shinhui's eyes suddenly changed, and he could have escaped this fatal blow. However, the teleportation of time and space ninjutsu cannot be followed by the physical body, so Sarutobi Hiruzen was still scratched by Shinhui's left arm with a sword. As expected of the third generation with rich combat experience, but how many tricks can you avoid? Shinhui faintly looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was going backwards crazy. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not dare to continue wrangling with Shinhui, and while avoiding Shinhui's blow, he sealed the seal again. Fire-style Fire Dragon Flare. Soon, 3 huge and hot fire dragons attacked Shinhui. But Shinhui appeared behind Hiruzen again in a flash, and then a sword directly cut Sarutobi Hiruzen in half. Shadow Clone. It's really hard to deal with. Shinhui curled his lips. Boom. In the next instant, Sarutobi Hiruzen, which was divided into 2 halves, turned into 2 clouds of smoke. Does Shinhui's temporal and spatial abilities require no time or any restrictions? Sarutobi Hiruzen, who had escaped another blow, looked at Shinhui in shock. He has seen the 2nd generation and 4th generation use Flying Thunder God. Although Flying Thunder God can be used unlimitedly, chakra is enough, it can only be sent to places marked with special marks in advance. That's why Flying Thunder God can be used with trait Kanai. At this time, Shinhui showed his temporal and spatial abilities, he didn't need any media at all, and he didn't even have a cooling time. This is completely unsolvable for the ninja world at this time. This time the trouble is big. At this time, Danzo on the side finally stopped watching the show. He immediately ordered to Anbu, "You go to deal with the rebellious Uchiha people, I will help Hiruzen." Yes, a group of Anbu responded immediately, and then they immediately went to Uchiha Peak and the others to kill. "Did I make you move?" Shinhui shouted in the distance, and then intercepted in front of the Anbu. At the same time, the second form of Susanoo was condensed in an instant. Then he controlled Susanoo to swing a long sword, and cut it at the group of Anbu. The group of Anbu was shocked, and quickly used various ninjutsu to stop them. But except for a few quick hands, the resistance of others is completely useless. And how can the ninjutsu performed by these people hinder Susanoo, who is in the name of destruction? Just as the attack was about to fall, Danzo's roar suddenly came through. "Don't be too proud, the old man is still here." Wind-style vacuum Big Jade. An extremely compressed air cannon immediately attacked Susanoo's great sword. When the two collided, Susanoo's attack was missed, and it smashed to the side of everyone in Anbu. But despite this, the attack still spread to a dozen unlucky guys on the edge. It's really troublesome. Shinhui shook his head dissatisfied. Danzo's wind style is still very powerful, and the original book even cut through Sasuke's second form of Suzu. Then Shinhui's figure flashed, and instantly returned to the front of Uchiha Peak and the others. "Shinhui, you don't care about us. We are not without fighting power." Uchiha Peak stepped forward and said, "Yes, we can also fight with you." The crowd behind him responded immediately. Shinhui waved his hand and said, "In the future, there will be opportunities to fight, but this time you have to save your strength, and there are still old people and children who need your care. And I just use this to try another ability." Feng Uchiha opened his mouth when he heard the words, but out of trust in Shinhui, he nodded and said nothing. During the conversation, Danzo also stood beside Sarutobi Hiruzen. Then he shouted to Fugaku, "Patriarch Fugaku, join us in destroying the rebellion in your clan." Looking at the deep threat in Danzo's eyes, Fugaku was silent for a moment. After a long time, he still walked towards Danzo step by step. Itachi also breathed a sigh of relief when he saw this, and then hurriedly followed. At this time, Obito, who had been watching the battle quietly, could not sit still. He had already determined that Shinhui would become his biggest stumbling block in the future. And now Shinhui will not use time, space and ninjutsu to leave early for the people behind him. Now that 4 film class players have gathered to deal with Shinhui, this is his chance. Thinking of this, Obito immediately jumped next to Itachi. He said shamelessly, "Since I have promised you to help, I can't stand by and watch." Itachi and others nodded silently. After all, it is a good thing to have one more helper. Looking at the 5 shadow ranks already gathered on his side, plus Izanagi in his body, Danzo suddenly burst into confidence. He shouted to Chinhui. No matter how strong you are, today the old man will punish you here for Konoha, even if he lays down his life. Don't be funny, Chinhui suddenly sneered. Then, Chinhui's left eye slowly turned, and the entire Uchiha tribe began to tremble inexplicably. You don't know anything about power. Feeling such a big shock around, Sarutobi Hiruzen and others put on a posture and looked at Chinhui vigilantly. But Chinhui did not move at all, just watching them quietly. What the hell is going on? What tricks Chinhui is brewing? Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned and asked lowly. At this time, Fugaku explained, Mangekyo Sharingan has 2 special pupil skills. And just now Chinhui has only used that time and space ability, now it must be another one. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded to express his understanding, then he squinted at Chinhui and muttered, what the hell does he want to do? Okay, the construction is complete. Then let's start the game. Chinhui smiled slightly, and everything was ready at this time. Then, I saw the Uchiha tribe, which had been trembling constantly, and suddenly stopped. What the hell are you doing? Sarutobi Hiruzen yelled at Chinhui. You will know soon. Chinhui smiled without saying a word. Lord 3rd generation, look at it. At this time, the observant Itachi was the first to find something wrong. The 4 immediately followed Itachi's gaze and turned their heads. The next moment, their pupils shrank suddenly. I saw a group of Anbu behind them and a group of people who were willing to believe in Fugaku. They were yelling frantically at them at this time, but they couldn't hear the slightest sound. What's the matter? Sarutobi Hiruzen exclaimed. We are no longer in the same space as them. Obito explained in a deep voice. Obito has the ability to space, so it quickly noticed the problem. But at this time, he frowned tightly, because he hadn't noticed any spatial fluctuations except for the inexplicable shaking before this. Any time and space abilities that even Kamui can't detect. Obito was very upset. At this moment he suddenly regretted joining the group of Chinhui impulsively. Previously, when Chinhui used Shen Lin, although the speed was extremely fast, Obito could still detect a slight fluctuation in space, just as Chinhui could detect him using Kamui. But at this moment the space has undergone such a big difference, but he has no sign of it. Obviously, compared with his Kamui, Chinhui's pupil technique is definitely several levels higher. After that, Obito immediately turned on Kamui, and he had to try whether he could use the hollow ability normally. But soon, Obito's face turned ugly. He can still use the hollow ability, but only partially hollow. Whenever he wants to enter the Kamui space with his whole body, he will encounter an inexplicable resistance. Obito stared at Chinhui, and as expected, Chinhui's left eye was slowly turning. Have you found it? Chinhui looked at Obito plainly, and the coldness and killing intent in his eyes made the battle-stricken Obito tremble. Chinhui's Mangekyo Sharingan, the ability of his right eye is to allow him to see through the space, instantly appearing in the line of sight, or anywhere in the perception Shen Lin. Moreover, God Pro has no cooling time, and the chakra and pupil power consumed every time it is used are also very weak, so Chinhui can use it in battle without any worries. And Chinhui's left eye is another heaven-defying spatial ability, Chinhui named it the mirror space. This ability is very similar to the ability in the movie, Doctor Strange, that Chinhui has seen in his previous life, but it is stronger than the ability in the movie. As the name suggests, the mirror space can be based on reality and build a mirror space that will not affect reality. As for the space constructed by Chinhui, everything in it will be completely controlled by Chinhui. As small as controlling its deformation, as large as controlling its basic particles, space and even time. But using this pupil technique will consume a huge amount of pupil power and chakra. There are also changes in the control space, which will also consume large and small chakra and pupil power according to the degree of change. The reason why Obito cannot enter the Kamui space in his entire body is that he is limited by the mirror space. Because only Chinhui can freely enter and exit the mirror space. Unless Obito can break this mirror space, or wait for Chinhui's chakra and pupil power to be exhausted, Obito will not be able to escape using any method. In order to break the mirror space constructed by Chinhui at this time with his strength, at least the level of Eternal Mangekyo Madara is enough. This is because Chenhui's chakra is only in the early stage of the shadow level at this time. When his strength rises, the stability of the mirror space will be greatly improved. Chenhui built a mirror space based on the entire Uchiha tribe land long before the genocide plan started. And Chenhui also quietly pulled all the people in the clan land and those who entered the clan land into the mirror space, even Obito is no exception. So Chenhui could observe the actions of everyone in it before. In order not to let other people disturb the battle between the 6 of them, and to protect Uchiha Peak and others, Chenhui just cut the mirrored space into 3 spaces. So Sarutobi Hiruzen and others just felt the spaces shaking. Chenhui looked at the 5 nervous people opposite, and slowly said, "Let's play a game. Now I have divided the space into 3 parts, so no one will interrupt our battle. As long as you can defeat me, I will immediately turn around and leave with the people. But if I defeat you, then your life, the lives of the people behind you, and the entire Konoha, I will accept it unceremoniously." HMPH, not ashamed. Danzo snorted coldly. "You want to escape after defeat? You are destined to die here today." Cut. Chenhui curled his lips in disdain. "In this world, as long as I can see it, I can go in and out freely. It's just your inability to restrain me." Danzo wanted to say something more, but Sarutobi Hiruzen interrupted him. "Don't talk nonsense with him, he obviously wants to delay time. Although we don't know his purpose, the sooner we solve him, the better. I always have an ominous hunch." Then, the 5 of them looked at each other and immediately attacked Chenhui from 5 directions vigilantly. The last exercise before the curtain begins. Chenhui smiled slightly, and then the figure behind appeared next to Itachi for an instant. But Itachi opened Mangekyo early, and he reacted as soon as Chenhui appeared, raising his sword to block Chenhui's blow. As expected of Itachi, the reaction is fast enough, Chenhui exclaimed. But Itachi did not respond to Chenhui's compliments. After blocking Chenhui's attack, he immediately backed away frantically. Fire-style Great Fireball technique. At this time, Fugaku's attack also came to Chenhui. But Chenhui was too lazy to hide. He directly attached chakra to the sword, and then cut the Great Fireball in half with a single sword. When Chenhui was facing Fugaku and his son, Danzo was holding kunai straight to kill Chenhui. At this time, his time for Izanagi has not passed yet, so he wants to use his immortality to entangle Chenhui to create opportunities for others. But Chenhui would not be fooled by Danzo. He directly used God Pro to escape the fight with Fugaku and his son, which also frustrated Danzo's plan. Before leaving, Chenhui looked imperceptibly with Danzo. At this moment of staring at each other, Mangekyo's eyes suddenly turned slightly at this moment. Then, Chenhui came to Sarutobi Hiruzen in an instant. Sarutobi Hiruzen was the one he wanted to beat the most apart from Fugaku and his son today. When the other people saw this, they also rushed to support them immediately. They are all grasshoppers on a rope now. In the other 2 spaces, Uchiha Peak and others were proud, while Anbu on the other side was worried. Chenhui faced 5 opponents of the same level, but did not lose the slightest. Every time Chenhui cooperated with the attack of God Pro, the 5 of Sarutobi Hiruzen were cautious. As for the attacks of the 5 of them, Chenhui could indeed easily use God Pro to evade. This is totally an asymmetric battle. But in fact, Chenhui in the field was not as relaxed as they thought. At the same time, he is still struggling to face 5 shadow ranks. On the surface, his attacks are extremely beautiful and handsome, but he has never received effective damage. The 5 people of Sarutobi Hiruzen are not far apart, they are watching each other, and they are horns. As long as Chenhui uses God Presence to get to one of them, the others will immediately attack and block Chenhui's position. And in order to save time and energy, they rarely use large-scale ninjutsu. But even those little ninjutsu with mediocre power have magical power in the hands of the shadow-level powerhouse, and Chenhui didn't dare to accept it. And the person chosen by Chenhui did not entangle with Chenhui at all. After all, they are all shadow ranks. With full attention and the support of others, it is not a problem to dodge an attack from Chenhui. Obviously, Sarutobi Hiruzen is going to kill Chenhui. After all, in the face of Chenhui's haunting God Pro, they can only make this move. Dog things, everyone wants to play a war of attrition with me. Chinhui suddenly sneered, I will show you what the gap is. After all, Chinhui raised his right hand, and the huge spiral shuriken instantly condensed in his hand. Then, he directly threw it to Sarutobi Hiruzen and others. Hurry up! Obito, who had seen the power of the spiral shuriken, immediately reminded him, and then he took the lead in flying backward. When other people saw it, they hurried to keep up, and in order to prevent Chinhui from attacking with God Pro, even if it was a formation of 5 people on the run, they didn't make contact. They didn't think about fighting hard. After all, ninjutsu, which was comparable to the spiral shuriken, would undoubtedly take a lot of time to seal the seal. But the speed of the spiral shuriken is too fast, and they can only choose to flee. However, at this moment, Fugaku's face changed suddenly. He immediately stopped retreating, and instead rushed towards the spiral shuriken. At the same time, he shouted at Itachi, Itachi, be careful. But before he finished speaking, nor did Sarutobi Hiruzen and others react, Itachi, who was already tens of meters away, suddenly appeared in front of the spiral shuriken. What? Sarutobi Hiruzen and others were shocked. Itachi was also stunned and didn't know what happened, only the spiral shuriken that was getting closer and closer to him in his eyes. At this moment, Fugaku, who had been prepared, finally arrived and stood in front of Itachi. Father, looking at Fugaku's back, Itachi's heart trembled suddenly. For the first time, he felt that his approach was wrong. Family. Boom. The spiral shuriken exploded, and the explosion instantly enveloped the surrounding tens of meters. Countless houses have been turned into shards under the attack of this degree. However, Chinhui at this time did not have the slightest joy of attacking on his face, but a little dignified. Fugaku actually saw through my attack. Chinhui is a little weird. What happened to Itachi just now is his ability to manipulate the mirror space. He replaced the small space where Itachi was in with the small space in front of the spiral shuriken. That's why Itachi, who had already escaped, appeared in front of the spiral shuriken instantly. However, this trick consumes different chakra and pupil powers depending on the selection. For example, this time replacing Itachi, whose strength has reached the shadow level, the chakra and pupil power used are even enough for Chinhui to use God Pro more than 20 times. But it was such a seamless attack that Fugaku could see through. No, it's not about seeing through. It's about predicting. Soon, Chinhui remembered the only scene of Fugaku in the original book. In one of the scenes, Fugaku showed Itachi the reaction of the Uchiha tribe after he exposed Sharingan and the subsequent dangers caused by it. Obviously, one of Fugaku's Mangekyo's abilities is to roughly predict the future. Then looking at the current situation, the other is to accurately see the future. Chinhui murmured. Chinhui guessed right, Fugaku's Mangekyo Sharingan's abilities are indeed these two. Mangekyo Sharingan is known as the Eye of Soul Portrayal, so the ability that the host acquires will be related to the mood at the time. For example, before the appearance of the system, he was thinking about how to control the situation of the Night of Annihilation, or how to escape from the Night of Annihilation. Therefore, he has obtained the God Presence, that can travel at will, and the Mirror Space, that can control everything within it. When Fugaku opened his eyes, it was when Uchiha and Konoha had the deepest conflict. Coupled with the 3 battles against One Village, Uchiha lost a large number of talents, and even Fugaku's friends died in front of him. So Fugaku desperately wanted to see Uchiha's future, so this pair of Mangekyo Sharingan was born. The spiral shuriken's attack slowly ended, and the dust it caused gradually dissipated. The 3 of Sarutobi Hiruzen watched the field nervously, they didn't want to lose 2 powerful allies. But Chinhui has a plain face, he has already felt a familiar breath in the court. Fugaku, which is quite hidden and fully masters Mangekyo Sharingan, is not so easy to deal with. However, such an excellent pair of Mangekyo Sharingan can't be wasted by you, I will accept it unceremoniously. After a while, the smoke and dust gradually dissipated, and then everyone saw a black, more than 20 meters high Susanoo towering in the field. This is Fugaku's Susanoo. Unexpectedly, Fugaku turned on Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha, really an enviable clan. Sarutobi Hiruzen murmured. When Danzo heard the words, a haze flashed across his face. The stronger Uchiha, the more he wanted to take this power as his own. Danzo roared crazy inside. Damn, your eyes will be mine one day. Chapter 11. Inside Susanoo, Fugaku panted heavily and knelt on one knee. At this time, his left eye also began to see blood continuously. Chinhui looked at Fugaku faintly and said, "Foresee the future. I didn't expect you to get such a pair of Mangekyo. I admire you a bit. But although these eyes are very powerful, they seem to have a great burden on you. How many times can you use it again?" Fugaku stood again with Itachi's support, and he did not answer Chinhui's question. Chinhui is right. His left eye can indeed see what will happen in the next 5 seconds, but it also puts a great burden on his body. If he just peered into the next 5 seconds, he would actually consume less pupil power and chakra. But if he chooses to change the existing future, then his chakra and pupil power will be greatly consumed. And the greater the change, the greater the impact, the more pupil power and chakra consumed. This is Fugaku's first use of this trick. The moment Itachi was rescued, his pupil power was consumed by 1/5. Be aware that Mangekyo Sharingan's pupil power is limited. Once the pupil power is exhausted, the host will immediately lose his sight. After opening Mangekyo Sharingan on the second pillar in the original book, he went crazy to various places to show his presence. Then he was first played by Killer Bee, then abused by Raikage and Mizukage, and then went to a life and death battle with Danzo, and finally pretended to be forced in the third state in front of Kakashi. As a result, he experienced these 3.5 battles. Mangekyo Sharingan reached the brink of blindness, and then he transplanted Itachi's Sharingan before he could wave in the Fourth Ninja World War. Therefore, if there is no accident, if Fugaku continues to use this ability to change the life and death fate of Itachi at this level, he will only have 4 opportunities to use it. And this is only the level of Itachi. If you change people with stronger and greater influence, the number of times will be even less. If you directly cross the realm to change the life and death fate of the Super Shadow class powerhouse, it is estimated that Fugaku will be blinded once. Your eyes are very good. As a cleansing of your sins, I will accept it without any kind of courtesy. Chinhui looked at Fugaku faintly, as if he could remove Fugaku's eyes at any time. Although you have the incomprehensible Mangekyo Sharingan ability, Mangekyo is not omnipotent, it also has fatal flaws. Fugaku gasped and said, "Too dependent on Mangekyo Sharingan, one day you will lose it too." Chinhui smiled unchallenged. He understood what Fugaku meant. Because under normal circumstances, if he uses Mangekyo uncontrollably, one day he will lose his sight because his pupils are exhausted. But he has a breakthrough system. The more he uses Mangekyo Sharingan, the stronger his control over Mangekyo Sharingan. After he has perfect control of Mangekyo Sharingan, the system will automatically promote it to Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Therefore, Chinhui doesn't care about this defect. Chinhui said indifferently, "I don't need you to comment on what my future will be like. You should think about how to survive my next attack." As soon as Chinhui's voice fell, Fugaku's expression changed suddenly. Even with Susanoo's body, he quickly pulled the puzzled Itachi back frantically. And just as he fled from the original location, the land in that place changed. I saw those lands as if they had come alive, madly attacking from the feet of Fugaku's Itachi. But Fugaku avoided them one by one, and the blood flowing out of his left eye was getting more and more. Susanoo has always had a fatal weakness when he did not reach perfect body. That is, the surgeon's feet will not receive protection. In Fugaku's peeping, Chinhui controlled the earth to pull him out of Susanoo. Then Chinhui moved in front of him instantly and took away his eyes. That's why his complexion changed a lot. Fugaku dodges the offense under his feet embarrassedly. If he hadn't had a prejudgment, he would have been recruited. Although Fugaku has avoided the attacks again and again, his pupil power has also been consumed a lot. Finally, after he dodged once again, his eyes suddenly hurt, and he temporarily lost the ability to predict. But the underground attack will not stop because of this. Just when Fugaku was about to be caught by Chinhui, the 3 of Sarutobi Hiruzen watching the play finally reacted. Summoning technique Ape Demon. Ape Demon, quickly transform into a golden hoop. After Sarutobi Hiruzen's angry shout, a golden hoop that stretched out instantly broke away and attacked the land of Fugaku. At this time, Fugaku's ability to predict has returned again. It's really troublesome. Chinhui shook his head. At this time, he was still too reluctant to deal with 5 strong men of the same rank who watched and helped each other at the same time. But in any case, Fugaku's eyes are determined by me. Chinhui looked at the 5 people on the opposite side coldly. He was about to explode once with all his strength, and he was bound to get Fugaku's eyes. Because he feels vaguely, as long as he swallows Fugaku's eyes, his mirror space will reach another level. It seems that you have to use replacement several times. Looking at the 5 vigilant people, Chinhui sighed imperceptibly. In this situation, the only way to deal with Itachi just now. However, the pupil power and chakra needed for replacement are extremely large, especially for the replacement of shadow-level powerhouses like Sarutobi Hiruzen. Of course, what Chinhui cares about is not the pupil power, because the more pupil power he uses, the faster he can turn on Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. What Chinhui cares about is the amount of chakra. After all, the quality of his chakra is only in the early stage of the shadow level. Just replacing the Itachi instantly consumed more than 10% of the chakra in his peak period. And his chakra at this time is only a little over 50%. So next, I have to fight quickly. Chinhui narrowed his eyes. In the next battle, he didn't need to care about other people. As long as he could get Fugaku's eyes, he would have won the greatest victory. Third generation, be careful, Chinhui is about to use that mysterious space-time ability. Fugaku yelled to everyone. At the same time, 2 lines of blood appeared in his eyes again. Sarutobi Hiruzen was shocked when he heard the words, and his figure suddenly appeared in front of Chinhui in the next instant. At the same time, Chinhui's chakra volume was only 40% left. Fugaku's reminder was still effective. The 3rd generation blocked the golden cudgel in front of him as soon as it appeared, and caught Chinhui's slashing sword. At this moment, Chinhui suddenly appeared behind Sarutobi Hiruzen and pierced his forehead with a sword. But the ape demon suddenly changed back to the original shape and grabbed Chinhui's sword. Ape demon, good job. Sarutobi Hiruzen was overjoyed at once, and then a kunai appeared on his left hand for an instant, and then he immediately thrust into Chinhui's chest. Too naive. Chinhui sneered, then released the sword and appeared on the other side of Sarutobi Hiruzen instantly. Then, Chinhui also took out a handful of suffering. Lightning-style thunder blade. After a big battle, Chinhui looked at Itachi and Obito, who were facing each other with a flat face. Chinhui's clothes are still as clean as ever, blood is dripping from his virtual left hand, and there is a figure with hollow eyes under his feet. He is Fugaku, whose eyes were poached. Not far away, Danzo's figure fell in a pool of blood, only the thin breath that still existed proved that he was not dead. Looking ahead, Sarutobi Hiruzen knelt on the ground with a face full of resentment, gritting his teeth, his eyes wishing to eat Chinhui. And his left and right sleeves were empty, and even the monkey demon was cut off his head with scars. Obviously, Chinhui won this battle. 2 minutes ago. After Kuwu turned into a lightning-style blade, Chinhui directly slashed at Sarutobi Hiruzen's neck. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen had already devoted himself to the blow to Chinhui. Now facing the blow of Chinhui, who appeared behind him again, he suddenly lost his sense of measure. It stands to reason that Sarutobi Hiruzen will not make such low-level mistakes. However, Chinhui puts too much pressure on him, and he will cherish every opportunity to cause harm to Chinhui. This also led to his current embarrassment. Seeing this, the monkey demon on the side will be rescued immediately. But before it caught Chinhui's sword with both hands, now it is too late even if it is released quickly. A trace of regret flashed in Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart. If he could be more cautious, he wouldn't end up in this situation. But Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't give up either, he didn't want to just die here unclearly. The next moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen's face flashed with determination, and then he chose to use his left arm to grab the electric blade in Chinhui's hand. Puff! The sound of the sharp blade entering the body suddenly sounded. What? Sarutobi Hiruzen also screamed at this time. At this time, his left arm was completely cut off by Chinhui and fell to the ground in the distance. Not only that, but a scary knife mark appeared on his chest. Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly lost most of his combat power and fell to the ground on one knee. It deserves to be the 3rd generation, but it is decisive. Chinhui jumped back and easily escaped the angry punch of the monkey demon. And Tsurumo did not continue pursuing, but decisively blocked in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Hiruzen. Danzo, who was watching from a distance, also exclaimed suddenly, and then he ran towards this side quickly. Itachi, Fugaku and Obito glanced at each other and chose to follow immediately. Trouble. Shinhui frowned, and then he stared at the four Danzo. More than 10% of chakras combined with a large amount of pupil power, coupled with the blessing of the mirror space, instantly increased their distance from it on the spatial level. But this can stop them for half a minute at most. But for Shinhui, this period of time is enough for him to do a lot of things. Shinhui looked at the monkey demon and curled his mouth in disdain, and then he went straight to kill the monkey demon. At the same time, he stretched out his hand, and the sword that fell on the ground immediately returned to his hand. He doesn't need to use God Pro to deal with the ape demon. The monkey demon roared when he saw it, and then slapped Shinhui's head with a slap. But under Shinhui Mangekyo Sharingan's insight, the movements of the monkey demon are as slow as a snail. He easily escaped the blow. Ba. Dot ba. Dot ba. After a burst of sword shadows flashed, Ape Demon was already covered with sword marks. But Tsuruma has firmly stood in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen. It's a loyal animal. If so, then I will send you down first. Shinhui exclaimed, and then slashed at the head of the monkey demon without hesitation. Sarutobi Hiruzen at the rear saw this in a hurry. He quickly slapped his right hand to the ground and shouted, summoning is relieved. However, Tsurumo did not receive any influence, and he stood in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen. What happened? Sarutobi Hiruzen's pupils suddenly shrank. Shinhui sneered when he saw this, and said, do you think you can come and leave if you want to leave my mirror space? Then, he directly decapitated the head of the monkey demon. Ape demon. Sarutobi Hiruzen let out a mournful cry, wondering whether he was lamenting the demon's passing away, or lamenting that he is no longer guarded. But Shinhui continued to kill him mercilessly. Hiruzen. Danzo watched this scene anxiously, and he was clearly in front of him, but he still couldn't reach Sarutobi Hiruzen. Suddenly he thought of something. He immediately raised his arm and saw that there were two Sharingan spinning on it. The next moment, a trace of determination flashed across his face. Then he raised kunai with both hands and slammed into the position of the heart. Puff! The sound of the sharp blade entering the body sounded, and Danzo suddenly fell in a pool of blood. But soon his body disappeared like a phantom, and in the next moment he appeared in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen, blocking Shinhui's sword with his body. Shinhui suddenly pulled his sword back when he saw this, and Akar looked at Danzo in surprise. Unexpectedly, you, Danzo, have such a sentimental and righteous side. Taking advantage of Izanaki's characteristics, he will save Sarutobi Hiruzen even if he commits suicide. I took a high look at you. Ha, I said, the old man doesn't need you to praise. Danzo coughed up blood, and Shinhui's sword cut through his heart. But the next moment, Danzo is as good as ever again. He raised his arm and took a look. A Sharingan slowly closed, leaving the last Sharingan on it. Is there 1 minute left? Danzo narrowed his eyes and looked at Shinhui vigilantly. Then, he saw Shinhui holding a sword and killing him straight. I didn't use the space power. Danzo's eyes suddenly lit up. Yes, he fought for so long and released so many advanced ninjutsu, chakra probably will be exhausted soon. Then, he immediately looked at Shinhui's Mangekyo greedily, but he still had a minute of Izanaki. Your eyes are mine. Danzo smiled greedily. He took out a handful of kunai, and instantly attached the wind attribute chakra to it, greatly increasing its length. Then, he also killed Shinhui directly. Elder Danzo, be careful, fraud. At this moment, Fugaku, who was finally able to move, suddenly shrank his pupils, and quickly reminded him. But at this time, Danzo's self-confidence was overwhelming, and with Izanaki, he didn't care about Fugaku's reminder at all. But at this moment, Shinhui suddenly disappeared and appeared beside him. Puff! Shinhui's sharp blade pierced Danzo's left chest instantly. It's careless. Danzo's head, which had been dizzy, immediately regained his clarity. But he didn't care. Izanagi has 1 minute, and he also has a chance. But at this moment, Danzo was shocked to discover that not only did his chest not recover, but it was getting more painful. How can it be? Danzo raised his arm in disbelief. only to find that the last Sharingan above had already been closed. He staggered a few steps, a sorrowful smile appeared on his face, and then he fell straight to the ground. Chenhui was given an illusion at that time. Before his eyes fell into darkness, Danzo remembered that he had briefly met Chenhui when he was rescuing Fugaku and his son. And it was this looking at each other that made his perception tampered by Chenhui. Even so early in the calculation of the old man. After solving Danzo, Chenhui looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen again. Your old friends are all gone, and then, it's your turn. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen finally awakened from the huge blow. He roared at Chenhui with red eyes, Uchiha Chenhui, I will never let you go. As the last scream of the people of Bingzu in the wind. Chenhui curled his lips and said, without an arm, what can you do now? In the ninja realm, except for a few people who can make seals with one hand, or who do not need seals at all, once everyone else loses their arms, they lose more than half of their strength. And Sarutobi Hiruzen in front of him, he is not a special crowd. Therefore, without his left arm, coupled with being seriously injured by Chenhui, he has long lost the ability to resist. The life and death of Sarutobi Hiruzen at this time is already between Chenhui's thoughts. Chenhui sneered coldly and said, but just in case, let you completely lose your combat effectiveness. As soon as the voice fell, Chenhui appeared behind Sarutobi Hiruzen instantly. Then I saw a sword shadow flashing, and with the sound of the sword entering the body, Sarutobi Hiruzen's right arm was also cut off and flew into the air. Ah! Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly screamed again and again. But at this moment, he lost his arms and couldn't even cover the wound. As a result, blood continued to emerge from the break of his arms, and in a moment it dyed the surrounding land red. Chenhui smiled happily. Whether in his previous life or in this life, he had long wanted to torture the respectable Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo, who has a share in everything. After all, too many tragedies are related to Danzo, and Sarutobi Hiruzen, who is hiding behind and letting Danzo go, is even more annoying. Just when he wanted to say something, the Itachi in the distance suddenly roared. Master Third Generation. In the next moment, Chenhui immediately noticed a hint of crisis. Then he didn't hesitate, and immediately moved away from Sarutobi Hiruzen with, God Pro. And just as Chenhui disappeared, a black flame suddenly appeared at his original location. The flame was burning in the void, and the space around it was slightly distorted. At the same time, a stream of blood appeared in the right eye of Itachi in the distance. Amaterasu. Chenhui, who had already appeared on the other side, narrowed his eyes. In the original book, Itachi realized this ability only when he confronted Three Tails Jinchuriki Yakura a few years later with Loquat Juzo. But now, under the stimulation of Chenhui, Itachi has realized this ability in advance. At the next moment, Chenhui suddenly admired Itachi. I didn't expect you to comprehend Amaterasu ahead of time. You deserve it. Why? Itachi's right eye stopped turning, and Amaterasu in the distance gradually went out. Itachi roared at Chenhui. Why do you want to do such a thing? Chenhui looked cold when he heard the words, and said, then why do you want to do that kind of thing? Both of them understand what the other is talking about. Itachi roared, naturally, I do it for the peace of the village and the future of Uchiha. Peace, the future. Chenhui suddenly sneered. Chenhui asked coldly, whose peace do you think you are maintaining, Konoha's? No, what you maintain is the peace of his Sarutobi Hiruzen. It is the peace of his Sarutobi clan. Although we have conflicts with Senju that are difficult to mediate, Senju Tobarama's management methods are indeed admirable. In his time, Konoha had a lot of talents. Except for the big families, those commoner ninjas would have a bright future as long as they worked hard. But when he was taken over by Sarutobi Hiruzen, it appeared that Konoha had won 2 ninja battles, but in fact Konoha was consuming the heritage left by Senju Tobarama. And Sarutobi Hiruzen just sits in the office, drinks tea, signs, and takes all the credit for himself. Just ask the other ninja village shadows, which one is not the pioneer. He actually claims to be the strongest Hokage. Without shame, is he also worthy? Speaking of this, Chenhui instantly appeared beside Sarutobi Hiruzen, kicked him to the ground with one foot, and then stepped his head under his feet. When Konoha was established, he was adhering to equality and peace. Senju is even more willing to demobilize most of the tribe and let them integrate into the common people. But look at the period when he was in power, the family and the common people were clearly divided into two lines by him. And the road of the common people is constantly suppressed by him. Only a very small number of civilians with the most top-notch talents, and must invest in his sect, in order to have the opportunity to contact Konoha's resources to become stronger. Not only that, Sarutobi Hiruzen is still playing power balance among the big families. Drawing in a batch and suppressing a batch will change Konoha's atmosphere as a result. Moreover, he quietly tilted his resources towards the Sarutobi clan. Look at the current Sarutobi clan. Their people do the most comfortable, safest, and most prestigious things, but these can be easily done even by ordinary chunin. Do you think you saved Konoha by sacrificing your family? No, you are just his Sarutobi Hiruzen pawn, the pawn to maintain his stable regime. No one in Konoha's group of fools cares about your contribution. They are also the pawns of Sarutobi Hiruzen, the pawns to maintain his high status. He designed the space where Chinhui is located so that outside sounds cannot pass in, but the sounds inside it can pass out. Therefore, the Anbu and the Uchiha people from the two factions outside listened to the words just now. In Anbu, some are family ninjas and some are civilian ninjas. Among them, civilian ninjas accounted for nearly 70%, but 90% of them were just chunin. Fortunately for the family ninjas, they have long been tacitly aware of these things, as long as they don't infringe on their interests. But those civilian ninjas were completely overturned at this time. But when they thought about it carefully, they found that what Chinhui said were all facts. They are doing the most dangerous things, but they don't have the slightest hope of improving their status. But Konoha follows equality. Why do they have such a hierarchy in their hearts? Suddenly, there was a feeling of being deceived in their hearts. At the same time, the look in Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes was no longer firm, but began to be mixed with hatred and anger. Under Chinhui's repeated questioning, Itachi was speechless. He remembered the spiral shuriken he had faced Chinhui before, and Fugaku was desperate to protect him. Am I really wrong? Itachi muttered. Of course you are wrong. And it is so wrong. Chinhui scolded angrily. Then, his voice turned around and mocked. After being brainwashed by Sarutobi Hiruzen's will of fire, I am afraid you don't know your true purpose, right? Hearing the words, Itachi immediately moved in his heart, and looked up at Chinhui with some confusion. Chinhui said in a cold voice, you keep talking about the village and the future of Uchiha, but you are actually making trouble with your own heart. When you see Konoha's strength, you think Uchiha can't resist it at all. And you are afraid that your brother Uchiha Sasuke will suffer any damage from this, plus Sarutobi Hiruzen's brainwashing of you, so you decide to use the life of the entire Uchiha clan in exchange for your brother's living. Am I right? When Itachi heard this, his pupils suddenly shrank, and he didn't know what to explain. If you don't believe me, how about I give you a multiple-choice question? Chinhui sneered coldly. What choice? Itachi asked in confusion. Obito and Fugaku on the side have a vigilant look. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo are examples of warnings. Chinhui said faintly. The space you are in is actually constructed by me using the outside world as a template. I call it a mirrored space. Only I can decide who can enter and leave this space. Even the one next to you who calls himself Uchiha Madara cannot escape. And your brother is now outside the space, controlled by the roots of those who just arrived in unknown circumstances. Hearing this, Itachi suddenly felt bad. He yelled at Chinhui. What do you want to do? Don't do anything, just give you a multiple-choice question. Chinhui shrugged. Sarutobi Hiruzen at my feet, Danzo who is half dead over there, Anbu in another space, and the people who choose to believe in you. Assuming that between them and Uchiha Sasuke outside, I must kill one of them. But I am willing to listen to your opinion, so, which one are you going to save? You. Upon hearing this, Itachi and Fugaku immediately pointed at Chinhui angrily. I only give you 30 seconds. Chinhui said lightly, turning a blind eye to Itachi and Fugaku's angry fingers. By the way, if all of these people were dead, Konoha might be destroyed by other shinobu villages. Chinhui smiled coldly. Then, with a wave of his hand, the sound of the other two spaces could be transmitted into this space. Itachi, I didn't expect you to actually slaughter the whole clan. A Uchiha member who felt he was deceived pointed at Itachi and cursed. Eat what's inside and out. You father and son are not good things. Most of the clan members were pointing at Weasel and cursing, but there was still a small half of the clan who remained silent. When Danzo poured dirty water on Shinhui before, not everyone believed Fugaku's nonsense, at least this group was skeptical. But the form at the time was that Shinhui faced 5 opponents of the same level, and those who supported him faced Anbu, who was many times more than them. So after weighing the pros and cons, this group of people still chose to stand on Fugaku's side. But what they never expected was that Shinhui turned the situation on his own. Suddenly, they regretted their previous choice. But there is no regret medicine in this world. Shinhui said lightly, there are 20 seconds left. Friendly reminder. If you don't choose when the time is up, then neither this group of people nor Sasuke will have to die. After Shinhui finished speaking, Itachi remained silent, but the group of people suddenly felt bad. Shinhui, we now see the face of the father and son, we are willing to support you. Yes, we will support you no matter what you do. You are more suitable to be the patriarch of Uchiha than Fugaku. Konoha dared to do something to us Uchiha, Shinhui, I support you to destroy it. In another space, Uchiha Peak and others were watching the show with fun. But when they heard the yelling words of the group of people, they suddenly showed a touch of contempt on their faces. Uchiha snorted coldly and cursed, spineless things. The others nodded in agreement. These people, they all dared to support Shinhui, who was obviously at a disadvantage at the time, so naturally they would not abandon their dignity and choose to live alive. So they despise what another group of people are doing at this time. What a shame for us Uchiha. Shinhui did not pay attention to the shouts and pleases of those people. Before the night of the genocide started, all the people he had regarded as his relatives gathered. Shinhui then asked these people to gather people close to them or people they could trust. Therefore, the people in the space on Uchiha Peak are more or less people related to Shinhui. As for the other side, originally in line with the same Uchiha, Shinhui also prepared to save him. But when they chose to stand on Fugaku's side, Shinhui naturally wouldn't care about their life and death anymore. He is not a virgin. There are still 10 seconds. Shinhui reminded faintly. Itachi still didn't speak, but his body trembled. At this time, the yelling people finally panicked. Itachi, what are you still hesitating? We have hundreds of lives. Itachi, did you forget that I even hugged you when I was a kid? Fugaku, please persuade Itachi. Seeing Shinhui ignored them, they had no choice but to play an emotional card against Itachi. But Itachi is still unmoved. 5, 4, Shinhui started the countdown, and the group of people crashed and finally yelled at Itachi. Itachi, you ungrateful thing, dog father and son, I will never let you father and son be a ghost. You will come down with us soon. 2, 1, 0. Tisk tusk. Shinhui smacked his lips. It seems you are very embarrassed. Then I will get a little tired and bring your brother over, and then I will solve them together. As he spoke, the space where Shinhui was located suddenly became distorted. And many more. At this time, Itachi stopped Shinhui from drinking. He gritted his teeth and looked at Shinhui, and squeezed a sentence between his teeth, I choose my brother. Oh, Shinhui raised his eyebrows suddenly. Then he sighed. I didn't expect you to be so selfless and willing to exchange your brother's life for the lives of this group of people. Admire, admire. Then I will kill your brother. It's not like that. Itachi hurriedly stopped again. Then, he took a deep breath and said solemnly, I choose to let my brother live. Ha 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 ha. After Itachi finished speaking, Shinhui burst into laughter. Then, he asked in a deep voice, do you know what this choice will cause? As soon as Sarutobi Hiruzen dies and these elites die, Konoha will be in chaos, and Konoha will lose nearly half of his strength in the chaos. In this way, the other 4 powers can easily invade the borders of the Fire Nation, and the entire Fire Nation is bound to fall into turmoil, and even Konoha may be destroyed. Didn't you keep saying that you want peace? Why are you willing to throw millions of people in the country of fire into chaos? Shinhui looked at Itachi with a mocking look. But Itachi just bowed his head and said nothing. Shinhui curled his lips disdainfully, it seems that you finally recognize yourself. Then, it's time to solve the 3 of you. What Chinhui did during this period was not just for playing the ferret. In this short period of time, he swallowed a few munition pills that he had already prepared in his mouth, and he had restored chakra to 40%. Hearing the words, the ferret on the opposite side suddenly looked up at Chinhui inconceivably. Very confused, Chinhui shrugged. Then he smiled slightly, and said, "Didn't I just say, this is a hypothesis?" Although Chinhui can perfectly control the mirror space, he needs chakra to get in and out. And his most precious thing now is chakra. How could he waste it because of a little Sasuke? Itachi immediately pointed at Chinhui angrily, and a strong sense of humiliation came to his mind. Then, Mangekyo in his right eye turned instantly, and directly used Amaterasu at Chinhui. However, Chinhui's reaction was not slow. He immediately came to Itachi's side with his God Pro, and swept his sword against Itachi's neck. However, Fugaku, who had been forewarned, came to Itachi ahead of time, and then took out Kuwu to stop Chinhui's sword. Obito immediately swung his sickle forward and slashed towards Chinhui's waist. As the holder of Mangekyo Sharingan, your cooperation is very good, but the speed is too slow. Chinhui sneered. Facing such cooperation, he didn't even need to use God Pro. Chinhui shook his left hand and showed up in his hand without suffering. Then in the blink of an eye, kunai turned into a thunder blade, blocking Obito's sickle. Don't forget there is me. At this time, Itachi also closed Amaterasu, quickly turned around and took out Kuwu to pierce Chinhui's neck. No. At this moment, Fugaku spoke with a flustered face. Itachi trusts Fugaku 100% at this time, so he will immediately take back kunai after hearing the words. Then, as soon as he pulled back, the Chinhui in front of him suddenly became Fugaku. So close. Itachi breathed a sigh of relief, but fortunately he had Fugaku's prediction. And Fugaku's eyes also left 2 lines of blood in an instant, and even Mangekyo was forced to temporarily degenerate into a 3-go jade. Finally taken the bait. However, at this moment, Chinhui suddenly appeared behind Fugaku and put his hand on Fugaku's shoulder. Itachi and Obito were shocked, but in the next instant, Chinhui and Fugaku disappeared in front of them together. "Father!" Itachi shouted, then quickly looked around. Soon, he found Chinhui and Fugaku 100 meters away. He immediately dashed towards there. Obito sighed imperceptibly when he saw this, but he couldn't let his last 2 allies have an accident, so he quickly followed. Chinhui pinched Fugaku's neck and held him high in the air. "I will accept your eyes." Chinhui smiled coldly, and then 2 fingers reached Fugaku's eyes. Fugaku's pupils shrank when he saw this, but at this moment, he felt as if there was a heavy burden on every part of his body, making him unable to move at all. And because his pupil power had been exhausted in a short time, he couldn't even maintain Mangekyo for the time being. So many moves Fugaku couldn't use at all, so he could only watch Chinhui's hand getting closer and closer. What? After a scream, Fugaku's 2 eye sockets instantly became hollow. Finally got it. Seeing that the 2 Sharingan of Mangekyo had been turned on in his hands, Chinhui's heart was full of joy. Chinhui murmured, "After swallowing these Mangekyo, my mirror space can go further. I don't know how strong it will be then. I really look forward to it." Then, Chinhui threw the Fugaku, which was useless, to the ground at will. "Father!" The pace of Itachi, who was coming here frantically, stopped abruptly. He stared at this scene in a daze, and a sense of sadness could not help but emerge in his heart. "Oh, we lost." Obito sighed, then walked to Itachi and patted him on the shoulder. At this moment, Chinhui looked at the 2 again. He smiled and asked, "Itachi, how about we make a deal?" Chinhui's words made Itachi regain his mind instantly. He immediately glared at Chinhui, and roared, "What tricks do you want to do?" Chinhui smiled slightly and looked at Itachi sincerely and said, "Don't get me wrong, I really want to make a deal with you this time." But Itachi just stared at Chinhui with a heavy breath. Chinhui's shocks to his spirit tonight made him inevitably lose his mind, who has always been known for his calmness. But Chinhui never looked at him, and he had almost no scruples tonight. But there are only 2 things that make him very defensive. One is that Sarutobi Hiruzen's ghoul is sealed off, so Chinhui scrapped his hands. And the other one is the monthly reading of Itachi's left eye. This is not to say that Chinhui has no resistance to this trick, but if he is hit by this trick, his thinking will definitely be sluggish for a period of time. This is fatal for facing 5 strong people of the same rank at the same time. Of course, if he is one-on-one with Itachi, he who has Mangekyo is also true. What deal do you want to do? At this moment, Obito on the side saw Itachi's anger, and immediately asked for him. Very simple. Chinhui shrugged. I heard that Shisui's other eye is in Itachi's hand. As long as he is willing to give it to me, I will turn around and leave without saying anything. These people in the space now, as well as the dying Fugaku, Danzo and Sarutobi Hiruzen, I can let them go. After Chinhui finished speaking, he couldn't help sighing inside. At this time, he has only a little more than 10% of chakra left. Once he continues to stalemate with Obito and Itachi, even if he wins, chakra will not leave much. And he still has to take Uchiha Peak and others to leave Konoha. It is obviously impossible for chakra to be insufficient. So he came up with such a compromise method, which can leave openly and go along with some benefits. As for Sarutobi Hiruzen and others after they recover, will they trouble him? Don't be funny, at this time he can suppress the 5-member Sarutobi Hiruzen team. Not to mention the afterthought. After this battle, he has a deeper understanding of these Mangekyo Sharingan. Afterwards, as long as he swallows Shisui and Fugaku's eyes, he will be able to reach the top of Mangekyo. At that time, the system will automatically upgrade him to the Eternal Mangekyo, and his strength will rapidly become stronger. It is only a matter of time before he reaches the level of Uchiha Madara and Hashirama. So Chinhui in the near future, I am afraid that Konoha will be wiped out several times just by flipping his hands. How about it, can't you change it? Chinhui smiled and looked at the 2 people opposite. Sarutobi Hiruzen has lost a lot of blood now, and Danzo has only 1 breath left. If you don't decide quickly, they will die. Hey, do you think I don't know what you think? Itachi said coldly. After such a fierce battle, your chakra is almost reaching its limit, right? So you want to distract us from this, do you think I will be fooled? Yes, my chakra is consumed very quickly, and now there is not much left. Chinhui shrugged. However, even with only these chakras, I can still get rid of you. It's just that when the time comes, I want to take these people away with me, it will be very troublesome. So, you can also treat this transaction as 2 choices. It's a multiple choice question again. Hearing this, Itachi's face instantly turned green. Chinhui smiled slightly and continued. Of course, we won't talk about your brother this time, lest you say that I'm targeting you, let alone, I'm also the elder of Sasuke. Then, please listen to the question. First, if you choose not to hand over Shisui's eyes, then all of you present will die. Then I will lead this group of people to kill Konoha, maybe we will lose a lot. Secondly, if you hand over Shisui's eyes, then we will all be happy. I will immediately withdraw from the mirror space and leave, and promise not to harm any of you present. At the same time, you can save your father and these 2 dying wastes. How about, make your choice? Chinhui bluntly got out of his thoughts, because there was nothing to hide. This is an arrogant plan, and Itachi can only choose the second option, because they have no choice but to take Chinhui, who has the ability of time and space, anyway. At most they can take down a few clansmen who are on Chinhui's side, and then arouse even greater anger from Chinhui. Itachi pursed his mouth and gritted his teeth, and clenched his fists tightly. This choice is also a gamble for him. If he chooses to refuse, he is betting that he and Obito can solve the current Chinhui. However, thinking of Chinhui's incomparable strength before, a sense of powerlessness suddenly appeared in Itachi's heart. What's more, they are Chinhui who can't be hurt by any means and has the ability of time and space. Itachi is struggling frantically inside. He is struggling, do you want to give it a go? Because this is their only chance to deal with Chinhui. Once Chinhui is let go, Chinhui will become even more terrifying in the future. At that time, they will not even have the opportunity to choose. Itachi's fists were tight and loose and tight, and his heart was going crazy with heaven and man. At this moment, Itachi remembered the warm scene of being with his parents and younger brother before. Suddenly, his heart trembled. Tonight, I made the wrong decision to owe my parents and Sasuke too much, and I can no longer make the choice to be sorry for them. The future is just the future, no one can accurately judge what happened at that time. But at this time, I can no longer let my parents and Sasuke face the crisis. Thinking of this, he still loosened his clenched fist. Itachi sighed and said, I choose to exchange. Wise choice. Chinhui said lightly. Then hand it over. Since Itachi made a good decision, he didn't hesitate. He quickly formed seals with both hands, and then slapped to the ground. Summoning technique. Then, a black crow was summoned by him. In the crow's left eye, the blood-red three-tomo Sharingan is slowly turning. Come on. As soon as Chinhui waved his hand, the crow was quickly pulled to his side by the invisible force. Then Chinhui did not hesitate to take Sharingan off the crow's left eye. Mangekyo is collected. Chinhui smiled slightly, and then he took out 3 more prepared bottles and put Fugaku's eyes and Shisui's left eye in them. 2 pairs of Mangekyo should allow me to break through to eternity. Now that the eyes have been given to you, you should fulfill your promise. Itachi said coldly. Chinhui smiled slightly and said, how do we say we were friends before? You should know me, I never break my word. After all, Chinhui pinched a seal with one hand, and the whole space suddenly remembered the sound of boom rumble. Soon, the 3 spaces merged together. Then Chinhui's figure flashed and came to Uchiha Peak and the others. Uchiha Peak suddenly laughed and greeted him. He patted Chinhui on the shoulder and said, I knew I didn't wrong you. Chinhui smiled and said, before Feng, you always protected me. Now that I grow up, it's time for me to protect you. Be prepared, and I will take you away from Konoha later. Uchiha nodded heavily and said, we have discussed it, and you will be our new patriarch in the future. We will always obey your orders. Chinhui nodded and said, don't worry, I will lead Uchiha to a new peak. On the other hand, after Anbu lifted the restrictions, the people who knew ninjutsu immediately rushed to Sarutobi Hiruzen and others. The dying Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo finally began to receive treatment. Soon after, the 2 woke up leisurely. As soon as Sarutobi Hiruzen opened his eyes, he saw Itachi standing not far in front of him. He hurriedly asked, 1,007, did we win? Itachi shook his head and said, we lost, but I exchanged Shisui's left eye for Chinhui to let us go once. So, Sarutobi Hiruzen was silent for a moment. At this moment, the sound of click, click, suddenly sounded. When everyone looked up, they saw that the surrounding scene seemed to become a mirror, and countless cracks began to continue to extend. Before everyone asked, the surrounding scene suddenly exploded. Then, the fragments of the scenes began to fall, and after falling to the ground, they inexplicably transfigured and disappeared, and the 2 surroundings became a black screen. When all this is over, the shady scene gradually disappeared, and the familiar scene came into the eyes of everyone again. They have returned to the Uchiha clan, but the traces of that fierce battle have long since disappeared. Seeing this, Obito muttered, is it a mirror space? What a magical ability. Then, Chinhui's voice suddenly sounded. Well, my promise has been fulfilled, and I will leave. Everyone looked up and saw Chinhui and a group of Uchiha people looking at them coldly. Chinhui said lightly, I hope you will like the gift I left. When hearing this, Itachi's pupils shrank, and he hurriedly stepped forward and asked, what do you mean by this? Didn't you promise to stop shooting us? Chinhui looked at Itachi without a smile, and said, naturally, I still keep my promise. This gift is just the fireworks I prepared before, I think you will like it. Ha 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 ha. After all, Chinhui and a group of people disappeared instantly. The top of a high mountain closest to Konoha offers a panoramic view of Konoha. Suddenly, hundreds of people appeared here instantly. They are Chinhui's group. And just after showing up with the clansmen, Chinhui suddenly groaned, and staggered a few steps while covering his eyes. The Uchiha Quan in the back was shocked and immediately stepped forward to support Chinhui. Are you okay, brother Chinhui? Chinhui waved his hand and said, it's just that the pupil power used in an instant is too much, and the eyes are a little uncomfortable. Quan nodded, but still did not let go of the hand holding Chinhui. The Uchiha people on the side also breathed a sigh of relief when they heard this. Now Chinhui is their backbone and belief, and there should be no accident because of saving them. Brother Chinhui, what did you bring us here for? Looking at the panoramic view of Konoha below, Quan suddenly frowned in disgust. Don't worry, you'll find out later. Chinhui smiled mysteriously. The crowd also cast their eyes on Konoha curiously. Seeing Chinhui disappear, Sarutobi Hiruzen breathed a sigh of relief. Then he said solemnly, Chinhui is definitely not at ease, everyone, hurry up and get all the ninjas in the village. Boom. Before Sarutobi Hiruzen had finished speaking, a violent explosion interrupted him. All of them suddenly changed their complexions, and quickly looked in the direction of the explosion. I saw a group of dazzling flames suddenly appeared in the distance, and the direction that the flames appeared was the Huiying Rock. No, Chinhui buried the detonating charm in Hokage Rock. Sarutobi Hiruzen was shocked. Haha. Danzo, who was also awake, smiled. It seems that Chinhui just wanted to humiliate Konoha, and even went to blow up Hokage Rock. Really? Sarutobi Hiruzen interrupted Danzo solemnly, Chinhui is not that simple. He should be the back mountain who wants to blow up the entire Hokage Rock. And Konoha is in the center of a basin, and the destroyed mountain will directly invade the village. At that time, the entire Konoha will be covered by rocks. What? Everyone was shocked when they heard this. And just then, there was another boom. The explosion sounded in Hokage Rock. Then, everyone saw the whole Hokage Rock trembling. You must act quickly. Sarutobi Hiruzen immediately turned around and said to Anbu, you are divided into two groups, one group is to prevent the intrusion of rocks into the village, and the other group is to organize the villagers to retreat to a safe place. At the same time, you gather all the ninjas in the village and let them be careful. Chinhui has delayed us for so long just now, it will definitely not be just such a simple attack. Yes, Anbu suddenly responded. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen's previous, honorable deeds, has been announced by Chinhui, he is still Hokage after all, and now it is a matter of the survival of the village, they naturally dare not slack. At this moment, another explosion sounded. Everyone dared not hesitate anymore, and immediately followed Sarutobi Hiruzen's orders and left in all directions. But the newly arrived roots did not act, but guarded by Danzo's side, and a root proficient in medical ninjutsu was constantly healing Danzo. Speaking of Danzo's luck, it took only a few minutes from when he was stabbed to when Itachi bowed his head to Chinhui. In addition, although Chinhui pierced his heart, he had transplanted Hashirama's cells, and his resilience was very strong. All he had a chance to pick up. I have to say that Hashirama's cell is really a big bug in Naruto world. Sarutobi Hiruzen naturally noticed the roots, but he didn't say anything. After all, he and Danzo are both seriously injured at this time, and there are Itachi, whose mentality has changed, and Uchiha Madara, standing next to Itachi. They dare not care. At this time, Fugaku also woke up under the care of his wife Makoto and Itachi, and then Itachi immediately walked towards Sarutobi Hiruzen. Jung. The sound of the sword being unsheathed sounded, and Itachi was intercepted by several roots. Itachi also stopped, and he asked Danzo, where is my brother Sasuke? I want to see him. Relax, he is safe now. Danzo smiled, not saying where Sasuke is now. When he entered the Uchiha clan land for the first time because the roots were killed, he asked a few roots to stun and hide Sasuke just in case. It now appears that his original decision was very correct. Itachi immediately glared at Danzo, but after all, Sasuke was still in Danzo's hands, and he quickly suppressed the anger in his heart. He knew the roots. The people in there only obeyed Danzo's orders. Danzo was brainwashed very thoroughly. So even if he shoots Danzo, those roots won't let Sasuke go. On the contrary, it is Danzo, who may choose to die with Sasuke. Seeing that Itachi was soft, Danzo smiled triumphantly. Then he looked around, and suddenly he saw a crowd of Uchiha people standing in the distance, fearful and uneasy. Suddenly, an idea suddenly appeared in his heart. Boom! There was another explosion from Hokage Rock. Danzo kindly said to Itachi, you have also seen that now the village is suffering from a crisis, so you first take the people who are willing to support Konoha to rest on the sidelines. When things are done, we will continue to talk in detail. Itachi frowned, but for Sasuke's safety, he turned and walked away. When Itachi left, Danzo's face suddenly sank. He said to Sarutobi Hiruzen in a low voice, these Uchiha can't stay. Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly frowned and asked, what do you want to do? They are all willing to stand on Konoha's side. Danzo said, it was just that we were so powerful at the beginning, and they were just here on our side. Although I was almost killed by Chinhui at the time, I knew everything about the movement outside in a coma. Neither the Itachi family nor these Uchiha people are really willing to stand on our side. They are all unstable factors. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed when he heard the words, and said, but now Konoha has suffered heavy losses, we can no longer continue internal friction. Don't you still have Itachi? He will help us solve it. Danzo sneered. Then Danzo saw Sarutobi Hiruzen still hesitating, and he immediately threw another heavyweight. And your hands, I guess only Tsunade can pick them up for you, but when you find her and call her back, everything is too late. But I have something here that can not only restore your arms perfectly, but also enhance your combat effectiveness a lot. But this thing is very invasive and must be suppressed with Sharingan. You don't want to be a cripple in the rest of your life, do you? Danzo's words hit Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart. His heart was instantly moved. No one wanted to be a waste person. He also knows what Danzo is talking about, that is Hashirama's cell. Seeing this, Danzo said again, you are the hope of the village now, let's decide Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen closed his eyes and exhaled deeply. Then, he nodded heavily. It is good. Boom, boom. The explosion sounded endlessly, and hundreds of Anbu rushed towards the Hokage rock. Along the way, these Anbu can see countless Konoha civilians being awakened. Then the civilians, led by some weaker ninjas, were hurriedly running towards the safe area. Kanahachi, who had not joined Anbu's strong ninja, was also awakened by the explosion at this time, and when they saw Anbu in a hurry, they immediately joined in. Soon, the mighty thousands of people rushed to the completely destroyed Hokage rock. At this time, countless mountains and rocks continued to invade downward, and dozens of houses have been buried by these rocks. As the Naruto think tank Naraluju also came here, he immediately stepped forward and shouted. We must prevent these rocks from destroying Konoha, everyone listen to my command. Ninjas who make good use of Earth Style, use Earth Style to stop all the rocks going forward. Yes, hundreds of people immediately stepped forward to answer. At the same time they began to seal, and then slapped to the ground. Earth Style wall. Hundreds of earth walls rose slowly, slowing down the speed of the mountains and rocks in an instant. She, keep going, Naraluju exclaimed in encouragement. The entire Konoha is backed by a large mountain hundreds of meters high, and the Hokage rock is on the mountain. So this time the Naruto rock was destroyed and the entire mountain collapsed. These earth styles cannot completely prevent the collapse of the mountain. As a result, this group of earth style ninjas began to continuously display earth style. Earth style wall. Earth style wall. 10 times later, the collapsed mountain body finally stopped moving forward. Good job, water style ninja is yours. Wet the earth and rocks behind the wall of the earth stream. Nara Shikahisa continued to command. Yes, earth style ninjas stepped back, and hundreds of water style ninjas stepped forward. Water style water blasting waves. Water style water blasting waves. A series of huge waves are continuously injected into the rocks behind the earth flow wall by these water-style ninjas. Shishi, lightning-style ninjas, use the water to smash all the rocks in it. The final blow. Wind-style ninja cooperates with fire-style ninja to dry it and solidify it. This group of guys really have the ability, this is enough to destroy Konoha's flowing stone is really stopped by them. Looking at the stationary rocks below, Chinhui couldn't help but slapped his mouth. Unfortunately, the loss to Konoha would be too small in this way. Uchiha Peak shook his head regretfully. Chinhui smiled mysteriously and said, don't worry. This game has just begun. Great, we made it. Seeing that the flowing stone in front of you has become extremely solid, the Konoha shinobi can't help cheering. Naraluji was also overjoyed to see this, but he did not relax. He continued to shout at the ninjas. Although the flowing stones have disappeared, don't let your guard down, we. Boom, boom, boom. Naralu hadn't finished speaking for a long time, and there was another explosion in the distance. This time, the explosion came from a residential house. And this time the explosion was so coherent that it spread to 100 meters away in the blink of an eye. How could Konoha be buried so many detonating charms? But soon, Naraluju thought of a possibility, and his pupils suddenly shrank. Then, his face changed drastically and shouted at the ninja below, Everyone, go and help evacuate the civilians. The scope of this explosion may be the entire Konoha. What? The ninjas below were suddenly shocked, and they were a little unbelievable. After all, how could someone bury the detonation talisman in the entire Konoha shinobi without concealing all the Konoha shinobi? But the continuous sound of explosions in the distance made this group of people have to believe. They immediately dispersed, and went to rescue Konoha's civilians. In the Uchiha clan, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo breathed a sigh of relief when they saw that the flowing stone that could destroy Konoha in the distance was stopped. Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled and said, "It must be Nara deer that has passed for a long time, or he is the most reliable one." Danzo nodded in agreement. After all, Nara Lujo's IQ and planning, but Konoha is famous for being superb. But before the two of them were happy for long, the explosion of rumble sounded again. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo stared at the exploding flames with their mouths stunned. In the blink of an eye, there were already hundreds of fires flashing. The light and temperature produced by the dense explosion made everyone feel like the sun is in the sky. Obviously, this explosion is about to spread to Konoha, and they have no power to stop it. After a long time, Sarutobi Hiruzen staggered back a few steps, and at the same time he suddenly vomited a big mouthful of blood. Hiruzen. Danzo hurriedly supported Sarutobi Hiruzen upon seeing this. Uchiha Chinhui, Konoha and you don't share the same love. Sarutobi Hiruzen roared into the sky with a mournful cry. At this time, Chinhui glanced at the Uchiha tribe with a sense of feeling. Ha 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 ha, Uchiha said with a big smile, Chinhui, I didn't expect you to be able to bury the detonation talisman all over Konoha. It's great, so Konoha can't change much in a year or two. In the rear, all the tribesmen also couldn't help nodding their heads with a smile on their faces. Konoha is about to destroy their clan, so at this time they have no sympathy at all. Chinhui smiled and shook his head, and said, I didn't bury these detonating charms, I just borrow flowers to present Buddha. Seeing the puzzled faces of all the tribesmen, he explained, the people Konoha has offended over the years are not just one or two. One of them was an architect. His son and his hometown were killed by Konoha during the war, so he sneaked into Konoha 30 years ago to prepare for revenge. At that time, Konoha was rebuilding the whole, so he used his identity as an architect to plant the detonation talisman throughout Konoha. After Chinhui finished speaking, the crowd suddenly came across. Uchiha sneered, I haven't found out for 30 years, Konoha is really ridiculous. It seems that the architect really helped us a lot, but now that Konoha is ruined, it can be regarded as revenge for his village and son. Chinhui couldn't comment with a smile. In the original work, the architect did not detonate these detonating charms, because Naruto and his son looked alike. After that, the architect used his hard work for 30 years to play a treasure hunt with Naruto. I have to say that sometimes the protagonist's halo is really awesome. And Konoha also escaped in a daze because of this. But now that Chinhui is here, he will naturally not let go of this opportunity. Before the night of genocide began, he found the detonating device designed by the architect based on sporadic plot fragments. Fortunately, at this time, the architect has not yet met Naruto from Guemuya, and Chinhui can accomplish this feat. Sarutobi Hiruzen tried to use Itachi to destroy Uchiha, and instead destroyed Konoha. He was also ruined with his arms, vomiting blood and unconscious. But at this point, Chinhui's plan is not over. Konoha that was brightly lit in the last second will become a ruin in the next second. On the top of the mountain, hundreds of Uchiha people watched this scene with excitement. This moment is undoubtedly the happiest moment in their lives today and even in their lives. Konoha has been squeezing the Uchiha clan ever since Senju Tobirama took over, and it has been decades since then. Up to now, the two disciples of Tobirama are even colluding fellows in the clan and want to completely eradicate the Uchiha clan. Fortunately, Chinhui was born at this time, pressing Konoha with absolute strength and saving their lives. Thinking of this, a group of people couldn't help but look at Chinhui's back enthusiastically. Uchiha Peak walked in front of Chinhui and said with emotion, at the beginning, you and Itachi were respected as two great arrogances, but now you have both turned on Mangekyo Sharingan. But Itachi suddenly rebelled against the clan, and even combined with Konoha to completely destroy my Uchiha clan. If it weren't for you, Perhaps the Uchiha clan, which has developed for 1,000 years, would really be destroyed by the anti-skeletal boy Itachi. Maybe in a few decades, Uchiha's name will completely disappear from the ninja world. Thank you Chenhui, not only for saving us, but also for protecting Uchiha's name. Chenhui shook his head and said, it should be me thank you. Since I was little, you have been taking care of me so that I can live my childhood life safely. When I grow up, I can easily learn all kinds of advanced ninjutsu that ordinary ninjas have struggled for a lifetime and may not be able to obtain. Without the protection of the ethnic group, perhaps as an orphan, I can only do nothing for a lifetime like those ordinary people. It would be nice if Itachi had the kind of awareness of you. Uchiha Feng said angrily. I don't know what kind of ecstasy Konoha has poured him into so that he can do things for Konoha so desperately. Everything he has since he was a child is given to him by the ethnic group. Now he chooses to betray the ethnic group, the reason is to protect those unrelated civilians. Chenhui smiled upon hearing this, and said, Itachi is the only one he wants to protect from the beginning to the end, and the civilians are just his excuses. Uchiha nodded, but soon, he sighed again. From now on, the ninja world is afraid that there will be 2 Uchiha tribes. No, Uchiha will only have us. Chenhui shook his head. When Uchiha heard the words, his heart suddenly moved, and he asked quickly, are you going to take action to get rid of them? Chenhui still shook his head, and said, although they are not the same with us, they are still our clan people. Besides, I can't do things like killing relatives before they infringe upon our interests. But Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo are not necessarily anymore. Seeing the confusion on Uchiha's face, Chenhui continued to explain. Now that the former tribesmen already know about Konoha's conspiracy, do you think a conspirator like Danzo will leave this kind of instability? What's more, Danzo has been coveting my Uchiha's power for a long time. Even my Uchiha's secret technique, Izanagi, has been obtained, and he even modified his body specially for this. In the previous battle, he relied on Izanagi to deal with me, but he also ran out of Sharingan accumulated by this. In order to be able to deal with my raids in the future, and to deal with me, he will definitely continue to search for Sharingan. But it is obviously impossible for him to get it from you, so the group of people who choose to stay in Konoha will naturally be targeted by him. In addition, the only powerful Itachi, the younger brother he cares about the most, is still in Danzo's hands, so the fate of this group of people is already doomed. This is what they deserve. Uchiha Feng said angrily. At the beginning, you said so clearly, they still chose to stand on Konoha's side. Isn't it because we were in a disadvantaged position at the time? But how could they think that your strength would be so strong, that one person can crush 5 strong men of the same rank and beat them violently? So since they chose to be blind in the first place, then they deserve to suffer the consequences for themselves. Also Danzo, who quietly got 6-3 Tomo Sharingan. It is conceivable that the people of our missing people in these years were probably killed by him. If you want me to say, you shouldn't be honest with the anti-skeleton Itachi at the beginning, you should stab Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo to death after getting Shisui's eyes. Chenhui shook his head. He didn't sympathize with the fate of those people in the slightest, but just made it by himself. But for Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo, it was not that he was honest at the time, but that he was not going to kill them at all. Because only they are alive that will benefit Chenhui the most. Konoha, under Sarutobi Hiruzen's rule, seems to be very peaceful, but in fact it is slowly decaying. In particular, Danzo keeps making small moves on the sidelines. If things go on like this, Konoha's strength will be weakened to an extreme. Moreover, these 2 people are in power and absolutely dare not make any big moves against Chenhui. But if Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo die, the helpless seniors will definitely recall Tsunade and Jiraiya to Konoha. These 2 are not fuel-efficient lamps, not only have a high reputation, but also have great strength. After they return, they will definitely reform the current Konoha. Without the obstacles of Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo, Konoha will definitely develop rapidly in a short time. At that time, Chenhui is facing Konoha's chase. Chenhui is naturally not afraid, but he still has to protect the people behind him. So after weighing the pros and cons, Chenhui temporarily let go of Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo. Chenhui said, Well, let's not talk about this, we should also go. Uchiha nodded and asked, then where are we going next? Chinhui turned around, and a group of people looked at him with fanatical eyes. To them now, Chinhui is their faith. Chinhui slowly said, Konoha was founded by Uchiha and Senju, so naturally there is no reason why the founder was kicked out. But at this time, we are not strong enough to fight against Konoha, so we can only avoid the edge for the time being. But I hope that one day, without me, you can regain Konoha. Yes, all the tribesmen immediately responded in unison. Chinhui continued, you rush to the eastern border first, and I will meet you after I have dealt with some things. Then, he looked at Uchiha Peak, Brother Feng, these people will be handed over to you. Uchiha Peak nodded and said, don't worry, I won't let them have an accident. At this time, Uchiha Quan also stepped forward and said, Brother Chinhui, be careful. Chinhui nodded, and then used God Pro to leave instantly. Although Konoha has been completely destroyed, Sarutobi Hiruzen has been hiding in the Uchiha clan with Danzo in order to maintain his reputation and prevent the villagers from seeing the tragedy of his arms being beheaded. The ninjas also walked out of safety and began to sort out the destroyed Konoha. Chinhui walked in the crowd, as if everyone couldn't see him. But even if they saw it, these people would not know that Chinhui was behind the disaster. The only Anbu who knew the truth about the matter rushed to the Uchiha clan area again after the rescue. Chinhui felt the special fluctuations in the void, and slowly came to an extremely hidden dense forest. Just as he raised his foot and stepped into the dense forest, 4 Anbu dressed in black and wearing various masks suddenly appeared and stopped in front of him. The Comer stops, the front is a restricted area. The leader, Anbu, took out a handful of kunai like a warning. Is it? Chinhui stopped and looked up at the 4 with a smile. Then Anbu frowned upon seeing this, and when he was about to speak to warn him, suddenly he saw Chinhui's eyes flashing red. In the next instant, these 4 people suddenly fell to the ground. Chinhui ignored the 4 people, and continued to walk towards the dense forest. Da, da, da. Soon, an inconspicuous hut appeared in front of Chinhui. Looking at the light blue light curtain in front of him, Chinhui murmured, is it soundproof barrier? In the next instant, Chinhui instantly appeared inside the barrier. Then he didn't hesitate, opened the door and walked in. Inside, a child with yellow hair and 6 beards was falling into a deep sleep. Hypnosis was also applied. I was really careful. Chinhui curled his mouth, then he stretched out his hand and opened the child's eyelids. A flash of red light suddenly flashed in his eyes. Dash 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 dash. You are Uzumaki Naruto, right? A faint call came, and Naruto suddenly opened his eyes in a daze. Looking at the face that was prettier than Sasuke, Naruto frowned. You are. Chinhui smiled slightly and said, just treat me as your fan, a former fan. My fans. Naruto's eyes suddenly lit up when he heard this. I actually have a fan. Really? Seeing Naruto suddenly become very excited, Chinhui smiled and waved his hand. Said, don't be so excited, you might as well sit down first. With that said, Chinhui waved his hand, and a set of tables and chairs appeared between him and Naruto. Looking at the magical scene in front of him, Naruto was stunned in excitement. At this time, he realized that he was in a white space all around. Then, he suddenly became dejected. He sat down on the chair and sighed. It turns out to be a dream. Why, do you really want to have a fan? Looking at Naruto, who was suddenly low, Chinhui asked interestingly. No, I just want someone to identify with me. Thinking it was a dream, Naruto spoke without hesitation. The uncles and aunts in the village, I don't know why they hate me so much, they don't even allow those kids to play with me with them. When I was young, they even instructed those kids to throw stones at me. But it's better when I go to ninja school, they can't beat me. And they still don't want to sell me things, but they are willing to expire the food. Sometimes I get hungry and I go fishing by the river by myself. For so many years, I am alone, even Grandpa 3rd generation only visits me once a month. Naruto began to tell Chinhui what happened over the years. Maybe it's been too long, He said so freely for the first time, it took more than half an hour to say this. After Naruto finished speaking, the space suddenly became quiet. Looking at Naruto in front of him, Shinhui suddenly remembered how alone he was when he was an orphan. But he is better than Naruto, that is, he is not hostile by others, although occasionally someone scolds him for having no father or mother. It was also during that period that Shinhui came into contact with Naruto, and he was immediately attracted by the protagonist Naruto. At that time, he was still young and didn't understand a lot of truths, but I have to say that Naruto's passionate and tenacious character really inspired him. That's why he just said he was a fan of Naruto, at least when he was a kid. But it's alright now, except for Grandpa third generation, finally someone wants to chat with me. Although this is just a dream, I am also very happy. After a moment of depression, Naruto suddenly regained his cheerfulness. He pursed his lips and said, if only Tenten could have such a dream, it would be great. Don't you hate it? Huh? Naruto suddenly looked at Shinhui strangely. Shinhui said, those villagers who are so hostile to you, when you were young, they used stones to throw you at you inexplicably. Have you never resented them? Upon hearing this question, Naruto fell silent. Then, his expression became extremely complicated, and a deep breath began to radiate from him. However, at this moment, Shinhui suddenly noticed a trace of extremely strange chakra and began to flow on Naruto's body. Then, Naruto's extremely hideous expression began to calm down. Seeing this, Shinhui's pupils suddenly shrank. At this time, Naruto smiled and said, why hate them? Maybe they just misunderstood something. I will just get to know the misunderstanding later and then solve the misunderstanding. Shi, it's decided. I want to resolve the misunderstanding and let the villagers recognize me. Seeing the huge change between before and after, Shinhui suddenly twitched his mouth. Sure enough, something has been affecting Naruto. He used Sharingan to enter this world, the spiritual world of Naruto. So he can clearly feel any strangeness in Naruto's body. That chakra came out of Naruto's spiritual world, so his feelings are extremely accurate. That chakra had no consciousness, but when Shinhui used his mental power to touch it, the hatred in his heart towards Sarutobi Hiruzen and others had diminished a lot. Fortunately, it was only slightly touched, so Shinhui was not deeply affected. But Shinhui has determined that it is this chakra that has affected Naruto. That's why Naruto can maintain his stupid blood in an extremely depressed environment for so many years. And Shinhui, who is familiar with the plot, naturally knows the origin of this chakra, that is, Asura, the second son of Sage of Six Paths. In the original work, although there is no direct explanation, many places suggest that Naruto's thinking was actually influenced by Asura. The most direct manifestation is the pseudo-infinite Tsukuyomi world in which Naruto and Sakura were drawn into by Obito in the theater version. Infinite Tsukuyomi constructs an illusion world exclusively for the practitioner through the inner desire of the practitioner. While everything in it meets the inner expectations of the practitioner, it is no different from the real world. In the theater version, little Sakura got his wish without the nagging of the family. Her father became Konoha's fourth Hokage, and sacrificed his life for Konoha. And Naruto got a complete family as he wished. Minato and Kushina have been with him in that world, face numb. But the incredible thing is that the numbness in the world of infinite Tsukuyomi turned black. You know that Mionmo has always been accompanied by Minato and Kushina. With Minato's personality, Mionmo definitely lives very warmly. And even if he is Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, when Minato and Kushina are alive, there will be no villagers who dare to face each other. But Naruto didn't have the warm company of his parents, and Tenten was scorned by the whole village, but that's how he remained passionate and did not blame the villagers. Obviously, this is very abnormal. And now, Shinhui has found the culprit of all this, that is Ashura's chakra. Only under the influence of Asura, Naruto will always be so rough. Just like Hashirama, he has experienced various conspiracies and wars during the Sengoku period, but he still naively thinks that love can influence everything. To this end, he also distributed the nine-tailed beasts to other countries, as if to maintain the balance between the countries. But what about the facts? When Hashirama died, other countries were ready to move, and battle after battle was unfolding again. The only difference from Sengoku is that the multi-party melee has merged into a five-nation chaos. But if Hashirama could obey Madara's persuasion and unify the ninja world with absolute strength, then there would be so many things in the ninja world at this time. Chinhui frowned deeply. Now that Ashura's chakra can even affect him, then he can't solve this internal trouble in Naruto. Chinhui sighed. In desperation, he could only ask the system for help. System, do you have a way to isolate Ashura's influence on Naruto? Start scanning Naruto's physical attributes. Name, Naruto. Bloodline, advanced sage body evolvable. Ninjutsu, free body technique disability. Chakra, Genin early quality, Jonin early quantity. Combat power evaluation, Genin. Special items. Ashura chakra group requires the activation of the power of the 6 yangs. After activation, you can have the initial strength of the 6 Daos. 9 Tails incomplete need to be approved by 9 Tails, can have the super shadow mid-term strength after use. I retrieved the Ashura chakra group mentioned by host, do you want to extract it? It's that simple. Chinhui raised an eyebrow and said, extract. Start extraction. The next moment, I saw the white areas in the spiritual space began to be covered with a faint layer of gold. Chinhui took a closer look, and the gold was actually very thin gold threads. Soon, these golden threads spread in the direction of the two. Then, strands of golden threads were intertwined in front of Chinhui, forming a fist-sized golden ball of light in a moment. Extraction is complete. Tisk tusk. Great. Chinhui smashed his mouth. Naruto on the side also looked at this scene with surprise. When the scene was over and the golden light group formed, he couldn't help it. He asked in surprise, what is this? This, Chinhui explained with a smile, this is a special energy in your body. If you can absorb it, you can instantly have the strength to surpass the shadow. Really? Naruto suddenly looked forward to hearing this. Grandpa 3rd generation said that Hokage is loved by the whole village, so if I absorb this, will I be able to become Hokage, and then the whole village will recognize me? Chinhui smiled and shook his head, and said, I'll talk about this later, I want to ask you again. The same question. Do you now hate those villagers who have despised and insulted you since childhood? Naruto froze for a moment, didn't he answer this question? Just as he was about to repeat the answer just now, another thought suddenly emerged in his heart. Suddenly, Naruto frowned, and then the expression on his face was sunny and gloomy, and it became extremely complicated and changeable. It's strange, I didn't hate them just now, but now I want to give them a severe lesson. Even, thinking of some of them, I want to kill them. Chinhui smiled slightly when he heard the words. He said lightly, don't be surprised, because this is what you really think in your heart. The real idea. Naruto frowned in confusion. Chinhui nodded, then pointed to the golden light group in front of him and said, this light group can improve your talent and potential, but it will also change your will. The special treatment you have encountered since childhood will become extremely gloomy when replaced by anyone, but you have always been so rough and generous to this group of people. All this is because this light group is affecting you. It erases all the emotions that you have generated, and then replaces it with its thoughts before passing it on to you. When Naruto heard the words, he suddenly didn't know what to say. For him at this time, this kind of spiritual problem is still a bit profound. Chinhui shook his head when he saw this. He didn't expect Naruto to realize this in an instant. Now you are still young, so you don't have to think about such profound questions. You only need to know one thing. From now on, you are the real Naruto. Your thinking is your real thinking. Chinhui said that Naruto understood a lot, but he was still confused. Since I am me from now on, who am I before? Chinhui said lightly, a puppet being manipulated. Seeing that Naruto still wanted to continue to ask, Chinhui suddenly changed the subject and asked, do you know your own life experience? Life experience? Naruto shook his head in frustration. Grandpa 3rd generation hasn't told me before, and no one else knows. They always call me wild and demon. Then I will tell you your life experience now. Chinhui smiled slightly. Really? Naruto's eyes suddenly lit up, then who are my parents? Chinhui thought slightly, and then said, it's silly, naive, but also great. Naruto's mouth twitched suddenly. What kind of comment is this? Chinhui looked at him profoundly and said, you should watch it yourself. Then, Chinhui's eyes instantly turned into Mangekyo, drawing Naruto into the world of illusion. In the world of illusion, Shinhui perfectly presented the original Nine Tails chaos in front of Naruto based on the memories of the past life and the experience of this life. And Shinhui also began to study the Asura chakra group in front of him. Looking at the chakra group in front of him, Shinhui turned on the system again. System, can you separate Asura's thinking from his chakra? The system did not answer, but the golden light group in front of Shinhui's eyes had already begun to change. I saw that the transparent silk threads were continuously drawn out from the light group, and in a short while, a transparent light group was reconverged on the side of the golden light group. Pretty, Shinhui exclaimed. When the system was first obtained, Uchiha was on the verge of extermination, and Shinhui had no intention of exploring the system's capabilities. But just look at it now. High cold, no nonsense, no nosy, host commands can be done, there is no mandatory requirement to perform a certain task. This is simply the ideal type of cheat. Only a handsome person like me can have such a system. Shinhui smacked his lips narcissistically. At this moment, the system sent a prompt tone. Remind host, to maintain the creator of this chakra light group reincarnation, you can still observe the movement in the ninja world at this time, please handle it properly by host. If this chakra group disappears completely, the creator will find out because of the changes in Naruto's body. Shinhui heard the words, and a glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. Sure enough, Otsutsuki Hagoromo has an ulterior secret. Then, he asked the system. Then I take away and absorb a part of Ashura's chakra, will Lu Dao detect me? It does not affect, no one can detect the existence of this system, and no one can detect the information of host. After the system was explained, Shinhui was at ease. After that, he did not hesitate to divide the chakra group of Asura in front of him into two parts, one big and one small. Outside, Shinhui's body also drew his hand to Naruto's body, and then the big group of chakra appeared in the hands of outside Shinhui. Wait and deal with it later. Shinhui took out a scroll and immediately sealed the chakra regiment in his hand. In the spiritual space, Naruto is still immersed in illusion, and Shinhui has also started his own arrangement. He first put Ashura's will in the deepest part of Naruto's spiritual world. With the power of the system enveloping it, Shinhui did not worry that it would leak. Then he used all the sealing techniques he had learned throughout his life, making it difficult for Naruto to find the position of Ashura's will. At this point, Asura will no longer be able to influence Naruto's decision. After doing all this, Shinhui looked at the chakra group that had shrunk several times in front of him. Shinhui murmured, in other words, it is also my childhood idol. If you can use it for me, then I don't mind increasing your strength. If you can't, you still choose to stand on the opposite side of me. When the time comes, don't blame me for being cruel. Dad, Mom. After a long time, Naruto opened his eyes with a scream. Seeing this, Shinhui smiled and asked, how do you feel after reading this? At this time, Naruto asked Shinhui excitedly, really? Is fourth Hokage really my father? Shinhui nodded and said, didn't you already see it? That's the picture of you when you were born. How can this be? How can this be? Naruto was stunned. Since my father's fourth Hokage, why would the villagers treat me like this? Because these people don't know anything. They are just some chess pieces. Shinhui sighed and began to tell Naruto about some things after the Nine Tails chaos. At the time Nine Tails messed up Konoha, your father and mother sealed Nine Tails on you at the cost of their lives, so that you can become Konoha's hero and be loved by all people. But Konoha's senior management didn't want this to happen. You were just born at the time, and you were basically at the age of very good brainwashing. For their own benefit, the high-level people started fighting for you. In the end, third Hokage won, and you were assigned to the Konoha orphanage. The other failed Danzo. He didn't want to see third Hokage got you so easily, so he spread the rumors that you were the incarnation of Nine Tails, and the fourth generation couple died because of you. Of course Konoha's idiots believed it, so you were treated like that when you were a kid. And this is exactly what third Hokage wants. After all, everyone hates you. If he shows you a little bit of favor, you can become his most powerful tool. After Shinhui finished speaking, Naruto shook his head frantically. No, this is not true, this is not true. Naruto couldn't imagine that the only third generation who felt warm in Konoha at this time, had such an attempt to him. Seeing this, Shinhui suddenly said in a deep voice, How long will you want to deceive yourself? I have taken out the things that affect your judgment. You should be able to wake up now, right? Sarutobi Hiruzen is Hokage. If he doesn't want to spread your identity as Jinchuriki, who will go against his will? Not to mention that you are 4th Hokage's son, why should he hide your identity? You know, Jinchuriki is much more important than the overly angry Naruto's son. No, you are lying to me. Naruto roared, but he knew that his last faith had disappeared. At this time, a trace of violent and cold chakra suddenly emerged from Naruto's body. Does Nine Tails want to take the opportunity to do something? Shinhui sneered at this. Then he looked straight into Naruto's eyes, and Mangekyo in his eyes turned instantly. In the next instant, he and Naruto came to a place similar to a sewer. Tisk tusk tusk. Is this Nine Tails? Shinhui looked at Nine Tails behind the fence interestingly. I was fenced, like a poultry. It's really embarrassing. Nine Tails was still squinting a lot of Shinhui. After hearing Shinhui's words, he immediately became angry. Boy, do you know who you are talking to? As he said, Nine Tails roared, and a huge air pressure suddenly crushed towards Shinhui. Shinhui stretched out his hand with a look of disgust, fanning back and forth. What a big tone. However, it is indeed strong enough. Feeling the sudden appearance of majesty, Shinhui nodded imperceptibly. Nine Tails is the most powerful of the tail beasts, even if it is only half of them, it is also a super shadow level strength. In the original book, this half Nine Tails can still be crushed against the total of the other 5 tail beasts. Unfortunately, it was me that you met today. Shinhui sneered, and then directly revealed that Mangekyo stared at Nine Tails. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.